Welcome to The Last Word, and we are here without Lord Cognito, actually. That's why I am doing the intro. So he's actually not feeling too well. We're going to let him recover, but we've got Travis as a co-host joining us today. How are you doing, sir?
McClunky. And might I just say, Cog not being here, wow, that really didn't take long before he abandoned his friends on The Last Word and came down with the case of too big for you itis, Ebontis. We all know.
Sounds terrible.
That, yeah, I know. He can't. He's been duking all over the place, all over his room. He just
don't come back from that.
He has amnesia too. He can't remember anybody with fewer than 20,000 Twitter followers.
Oh man, that is the worst case. I've heard of that. It's a bad.
It's a really really bad case of too big for you itis. He's just a big shot now. So anyway, let's continue introducing our guest.
No, but yeah, before we go any farther, we got an awesome guest. So let's get this episode started. Welcome to The Last Word, episode 157. As we take our seats around the campfire on this warm summer evening, the world of Destiny is heating up. The Sandbox has shifted, the EAZ is in the air, and the Vault of Glass is showing us what time lost really means. To discuss all of this and more tonight, we are joined by a very special guest. While she didn't get to spend a lot of time gaming growing up, she recently has chosen some great franchises to get lost in. Between the worlds of Zelda and Diablo, action-adventure seems to speak to her. But Destiny 2 has merged many genres, and she's been hooked on clicking heads ever since. So let's welcome to the campfire a true Canadian who enjoys sipping on her Tim Hortons coffee while reading her latest book, staying cool in the summer with some advanced GG popsicles, putting on a clinic at the gym with her excellent form, losing yet winning in her own beer Olympics, and shutting down players in Crucible since Season of the Drifter. The one, the only, very small hat, Sara, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing really great. I'm very happy to be here.
Introducing. You got to do the introducing.
He and I do it different. I can't copy him. I got to do my own thing.
Yeah, you got to have your own style. Yeah.
So how are you doing, though? Welcome.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Didn't play much Destiny in the last week, to be honest, especially with everything going on. I'm kind of like feeling like, oh, no, like I've got so much to catch up on, but I'm excited to talk a little bit more about like the patch and Solstice and Master Bug and hear what everybody else is thinking too, because
yeah, we've got a lot to talk about in Destiny, but we want to get to know you a little bit first, a little more. So anybody who of your communities in chat or finds this later on, we have a very nice lady here. So first I want to actually talk about kind of your gaming history and where you get started, which has actually been fairly recent. So I mean, growing up seemed like you didn't have a lot of access, and then you kind of fell into this stuff more recently. So how has your journey through gaming been for your life so far? Like, where did you get to play any when you were younger at all? Got a little tease and then you got into it. So what's your gaming journey been like?
Yeah, so growing up, like, we just didn't have any consoles. Like, I didn't have a huge interest in gaming. We moved around a lot. So, I didn't really know a ton of people that were into any forms of gaming. My dad did, however, have a NES and one singular Mario game. So we played quite a bit of that. And I played it with my grandma. Actually, she was really good at it. So played a certain amount of that. My brother, who's quite a bit younger than me, he got a Nintendo DS. And so I would occasionally play on that, some Pokemon games. And we had a PlayStation, which I was allowed very, very little time on, but it was usually just like some basic racing games. I was never very good. And I would often like lose interest pretty quickly, not knowing how to like progress in levels or stuff like that. So I just kind of like dabbled. And then in my last relationship, actually, it was my ex that got me into gaming. So we started playing on his Xbox, and I started playing Breath of the Wild on the Wii U. And then we built my PC in 2019 after I started playing around on his. And I like made a Steam account and started playing Destiny 2 on his computer because he was like, I think you're really going to like it based on the games that we've been playing. And he was really passionate about it. So it became something that we played together. And then we built my first PC, which I'm still running most of the same things that I built it with in 2019.
That's not that old. That's not that bad.
Not that old.
You're like 2019, my 2-year-old PC. God, so old.
I mean, to be fair, with how quickly everything progresses, fair, technology,
but
I just can't keep up.
Yeah.
I also didn't stream at the time, so pretty impressed that
I
was able to.
It was streaming in mind. That's the important.
Yeah, I didn't. I had no ambitions of streaming. I didn't know what Twitch was when I started gaming. So, yeah,
so
and then
your ex introduced you into Destiny, huh?
Yes.
At least he's
So we
good
were
for
together-
something, that knucklehead.
We were together for 6 years. He introduced me to a lot of my hobbies. No regrets. And yeah, it was a big thing that we did together as well. And then I started to kind of feel like I wanted to meet more people in the community that I resonated with personally, rather than just through his gaming friends. And I wanted to kind of meet, you know, my own group of people to hang out with. And so that's why I started streaming. But when I started streaming, like, I did not spend time on Twitch. Like, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. It was super spontaneous. I literally was like, I'm going to start streaming. And I went to the store, bought their last webcam. I remember I had to ask for it because it was behind the counter.
Oh, man.
And I started streaming the next day. And like, it was just super spontaneous. I told my family and friends about it, and they started supporting me. And this was June of last year. So
I mean, yeah, you've been strapped to a rocket for a year then. That's impressive.
yeah, it's pretty wild.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I would say that pretty much sums up the journey. But pretty much once I started gaming more regularly, I've been hooked ever since. I can't not have something on the go. And I play around with a lot of different games off stream as well, even though I primarily play Destiny 2 on stream. Yeah.
I saw one of your favorite games was Elder Scrolls Online. Have you played the new Blackwood expansion?
So I actually can't have both Destiny 2 and ESO on my computer at the same time.
Get 2019 PC, man.
2019 PC holding you back over here?
They like have to be on my C drive, and I just don't have enough space to have both because it just doesn't run well otherwise.
Oh,
and the
man.
graphics in that game are really good. So, you know, you don't want to be playing on like, you know, terrible graphics. So I have put ESO on hold. I have not touched it in about a year. So I haven't. Most recent expansion that I think I dabbled in was where they introduced dragons, whichever one that was. I don't remember the name of it. But I dabbled in that one. Yeah, Somerset, I think. Yeah. Yep. That sounds right.
Yeah. It's a good game. It's
I also didn't have a lot of friends that played it. And I think it is one of those games it's good to have friends to do dungeons with. And yeah. So.
Yeah, it's one of those games that I always boot up regularly, and I try to get into it, and then I just always fall off the wagon because it's just such a big game. It's huge. It could take your whole life if you're not careful.
Oh my gosh, I get so sidetracked with quests, like, and then I'm like, I haven't accomplished anything in 6 hours of gaming, but it's fine. Like, I mean, that's what I love games like that, but I do get a bit overwhelmed sometimes, and I'm like, I don't know where to start if I get so behind.
To Blackwings in chat. One of the reasons why I'm always afraid to touch The Witcher. Well, I've heard Witcher 3 is an amazing game. Like, the show is really good. And
I've heard I forgot to mention.
The Witcher has an end.
There is an end.
There is an end, yes. But it is large from what I've heard.
So I'm the type of person, like, I do get very, like, into games, and I get super sidetracked, and I like to finish them. And I did The Witcher in about 120 hours, The Witcher 3. So that's where, like, I would basically, like, I pretty well stuck to the main story, but I would, like, between each, like, main story quest, I would go do a few side quests to switch things up a little bit, because once I'm done the main quest, I have a hard time going back and just doing, because I'm like, well, there's no purpose now. Like, I like to have a set goal. So, like, for me, it's like, okay, introduce me, like, a new main quest, and I'm back in the game. I'll do more story, like, more side quests. I'll go exploring more, but other than that, like, for me, it's like, I like to have that end goal. So I like split up the main quest with a bunch of side quests, and it took me about 120 hours. And I played the entire thing last year in like March when quarantine started. And
that one's worth it.
Literally I dated The Witcher 3 for about 2 weeks. Like, I did not do anything else. I didn't go to the gym. I didn't eat. I literally.
This is how she lost her ex. We get it now. It was The Witcher.
No, he supported me. It was fine. He's a little jealous of Geralt, but you know.
I mean, have you seen Henry Cavill? I think everybody
have
is.
Have you seen him? Yeah.
He's a bit.
Yeah, the show is so good too. Highly recommend The Witcher 3 though. So good.
And 2.
So good.
Play 2. You can skip 1.
I didn't play 2.
I give you permission to skip 1. 2 is kind of hard to get into just because it's a little outdated, but the story is so good. And then 3 is obviously just like one of the best games ever. It's one of I think I did literally every side quest in that game. It took me like 6 months of playing every day. I think it was like 300 hours or something like that, maybe a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's daunting, because like trying to do content at all and keep
Destiny for 5,000 hours.
That's the problem. That's the problem. Destiny occupies so much of your time. Like, I have to force myself to go do variety, which has been healthy to take breaks from Destiny. Believe me, after covering it for so long. But it's like, I'm working through Mass Effect, and even I finished Mass Effect 1, so I'm a third of the way done.
Congrats.
I got through the worst one from what I understand. The world building is really cool. And that's the thing is like, I'm kind of like you guys. It's like I started and it's like, yeah, here's the quest. But there's some side quests you can do. The side quest in Mass Effect 1, those were fairly repetitive. But it was like, but every time you'd like, it was the actions of what you would do were like repetitive. And I'm like, okay, but then you'd get into a conversation and those were the best parts of Mass Effect 1. I'm like, all right, this is legit, like, cool. The world that it was building. And then the fact that I know there's 2 more to go with it is going to be really cool. But man, that was even a decent chunk of hours. And every so often it's just the idea of like Witcher, that's 100 plus. It's just a lot. So it's somewhere at some point. I joked with Blackwing. So I was like, if I ever do like a charity stream and there's like a decent milestone, if we hit that, I might throw it out there as like a reach goal. And he's like, dude, you just give me the day and the number. We'll get there. So
seriously, it's so fun. You'd love it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well,
sometimes I forget you only play Destiny.
I play a lot.
That's one way to live.
I don't only play. I used to only play because I missed like Breath of the Wild mostly. I played like 7 hours of that and I need to go back and play that. I've missed a lot
like
over the years.
200 some hours in that
yeah,
game.
I've missed so many things because of Destiny. That's why I've like when Destiny's now like a Tuesday game, or now it's like I'll play you in a month game, which we'll get to in a little bit. Like now is the time when I can go enjoy other stuff. So I'm honestly happy we're kind of at that state now.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of kind of your history with Destiny as well, how did you? 2 things. One, you started with your ex. You guys must have like ended on amicable terms, because if your ex like is like, this is his focus and we're going to play the game together, and then you're not with him anymore to still play the game, like there's got to be a transition there. Like, how did that work out?
Well, I mean, it was like, so like we were together for a long time and we didn't necessarily end on amicable terms. Everything's fine now, but it was Destiny became more than just about our relationship at that point. Like I did meet more people through streaming, started playing with other people. I'd play on my own a lot. Like he would play on his own a lot. We were in the same clan at the time. I ended up leaving the clan and just like meeting new people, and it was fine. It was like, weirdly enough, I've only ever matched him once, even though we live in the same city.
In Crucible? I hope it's Crucible.
Only once.
Please tell me you beat him. Oh, come on.
No, I left.
Oh,
it
no.
was months ago.
left the
It was
lobby?
too fresh.
No.
It was too fresh at the time.
Oh. If that ever happens again, we need the tweet and be like, crushed him.
We do. We need the kill clips. And bagging. We need that.
So much. Yeah. Oh no, my control key broke. I don't know what happened.
And I was like,
but yeah, no, it became more than that. And like by the time we split, like I'd been playing the game for a couple years.
Okay.
So yeah, it became more than that. And obviously by this point too, because we split last October, I had like a platform on Twitch too. So like I'd met a lot of new people by last October. So I mean, that was before I like
forever.
really took off. But like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, Destiny is forever. Oh my God.
And that's part of it. I was like, I kind of figured you had grown, you exploded on Twitch, like you had a reason to stay. But the other, you started in season of the Drifter. How does somebody start in Drifter and be like, this is where I want to spend a lot of my time?
This is the game.
But like, put yourself in my shoes for a second. Like, I have no experience with FPS games. Like, this was such a new realm to me. This was like my first like major PC game on PC. I think before Destiny 2, I was playing Elder Scrolls Online. Actually, no, I think I started playing Elder Scrolls after I was playing Destiny. But I was playing Elder Scrolls Online around the same time. And then before that, I played a little bit of Path of Exile, which is like a really different game to get into.
Diablo, yeah.
Very.
So yeah, very much Diablo style. And so then Destiny 2 was like the first game that had like all this movement, and I hadn't tried Warframe yet at the time. So like very different type of game. And I was terrible. Like I didn't even know how to work a mouse and keyboard. Like I had no clue what I was doing.
She's come a long way, ladies and gentlemen.
So this was early 2019. So that was me. So I was like just exploring the storyline and just doing PvE stuff. Like I was a strikes gamer, right? Like at the very beginning, like that was what I was doing. I played Gambit for a while, which was a big step for me, playing with other people, like matchmaking and like it being more competitive. That was a big step for me. So, and then me going into Crucible, that was just like, I remember I was so nervous and like I had no clue what I was doing. I was really bad. I was double primarying for a long time. And then I don't know, something clicked. I started watching other people play, and yeah, I've been a PvP main for over a year. Like, it's been a year and a half, 2 years almost. Like, I only stayed in the PvE realm for about 6 months before I was bored.
What
So.
clicked? What made that switch? Because obviously you're starting in Strikes. You've done Zeldas and Elder Scrolls, a lot more PvE generally focused things.
Mhm.
When did you switch over? Is it just like your progression of like, I'm picking up this quick and people are dying on account of my clicks? Or like, what started you down the path of PvP so hard? Because obviously if you're a main now, that's a thing.
I think for me, it's my competitive side. Like, I grew up playing sports. I played lacrosse for 8 years. Like, I am super competitive and I love winning. I love winning, but I also love challenging myself and getting better at something. And I think with PvP, because I was starting from nothing, I saw myself get better in very obvious ways. And it's like it's represented by numbers, right? Like, you can watch your KD go up. You can watch your number of kills go up. You you try out weapons and then you're like, oh shit, like, I'm really good with this type of weapon. And like, it was just, I think for me, it was I loved to see that progress and feel like I was getting better. Like, so it was personal. I was being competitive with myself, but also winning, or like also it was just really bringing out my competitive side. And you don't get that in PvE. You don't get that at all. So, or at least I didn't. So yeah, that I think was the biggest thing for me.
Nice. So you went from training wheels to try hard in like 6 months, you said?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess so. I wasn't that good right away. I probably didn't play my first PvP match until 6 months into playing Destiny 2. And then I basically just stuck with it from there. I remember I would just like get up in the morning and drink my coffee because I was either in school or I was serving at the time. So I worked in the evenings, and I'd get up and drink coffee, and I would turn on some music, and I would just vibe out in some 6v6. It was great, just by myself, because at the time I didn't have very many gaming friends. So it was just, yeah. So
quite a little journey.
It's been a journey.
It's a great story.
Yeah. But like, my experience is a lot different from other people, because I just don't. I never played FPS games like prior to this, like, at all. So.
There are a lot of people who are not thrilled. I've been doing this for years and she can kick my butt. Yes, she can. But that's one of those things, like, you really did pick it up fast. Because I know some people, it's like picking up mouse and keyboard is very, very foreign to play. Much less like, because, some people grew up with, even 2 thumbsticks on controller, depending on how you play, is difficult if you haven't picked up like one going one way and it's just a whole lot. So the fact that you picked it up is, for one, impressive, and 2, just kind of goes to show for your resilience. But that also kind of goes into a little off-beaten topic I wanted to kind of touch on as well, is fitness for you. Seems definitely to be like a big thing I see through your Twitter thread. And I think that's really cool. But I got a tease of it as you've done sports for so long. But sports, lacrosse, have you always been into that more? Did you get into like, feels like you're almost into more like lifting weights and like heavier intensity now? Like, how's your progression been through just, staying fit and healthy for you?
Yeah, so my fitness journey started when I was quite young. Like, I've always played sports. I've dabbled in pretty much every sport you can think of, but I started playing lacrosse competitively, which in Canada, it's box lacrosse, not just field lacrosse. So we have both. So box lacrosse is like you play in like a hockey arena, but you're running. So it's in hockey off season. So a lot of people who play hockey, a lot of people who play hockey do lacrosse in off season because it's great conditioning and it keeps them in shape.
Makes sense, yeah.
But it's like you have gear on. Like, it's like very, very rough. It's a rough sport compared to field lacrosse, which is the one that I think most people in the States would know about. Which that one's more of like a summer sport, whereas lacrosse is like a spring, early summer sport. It's only a few months long.
Now I see how your competitive side developed.
Yeah. So played that for a long time. So I was really into running when I was younger. I've run like a couple 10Ks, half marathons. Nice. And then I started lifting. Once again, my ex introduced me to lifting early on in our relationship, which was about, so this was 6 years ago. I've been lifting for about 6 years now. And I've always been, like, I started lifting in high school casually because that was part of our training and conditioning for lacrosse. But then I really got into it in my early 20s. And I've dabbled in powerlifting, some Olympic lifting. And at one point I was like full on doing like bulks, cuts. I was counting macros. Like I've literally been to every extreme, and I was gymming 6 days a week. My gym sessions were like 2+ hours long. Like, yeah, it was, for me, it was like it was my life. Like it was a lifestyle.
When you go that
now,
hard.
Yeah, me too. Big
yeah.
lifting.
Now I'm at the point where I just do it because I enjoy it. I like feeling strong. I do it to maintain my muscle. And because I know that it's gonna help me with my longevity in my life. It's good for your bones. Like I just feel better. I feel like my joints work better. Like I feel more competent and capable. I'm a 5'2" female. I like to feel like I'm strong, right?
It's
so
legit,
yeah. So yeah, now I just like, I go like 2 to 3 times a week right now, like nothing too crazy. And I've never done any like official like nutrition or exercise like training, but I have learned a lot over my 6 years of lifting. Like there's so much information out there. So I've learned a lot. So I like to share a certain amount of it, but yeah, my cardio sucks now. I used to be a runner. I'm not anymore. And I pretty much just lift heavy weights and put them back down again. So
that is totally fair. No, like I literally, my wife and I have been lifting kind of a way to stay relatively reasonable in the like the last year being stuck at home, and we have at least enough weights at home to do it. And then every so often, just this last couple of days, we did legs, and like, you know, you'll do heavy stuff here and there. We have a friend, he actually got a squat rack set up in one of his rooms. We actually have a way to do that, which is not an easy thing for home stuff, but we kind of do that on the weekends. But like the one that ruins me, it's always like a lot, like high volume lunges. For whatever reason,
totally.
Like I'm sitting in this chair right now. When I go to get up, I'm just going to moan like an old man. And then when I go to sit down, my butt is still sore 2 days later. So it's just one of those things. But it is one of those weird ones. It doesn't have to be the heaviest thing. Like, you know, we'll dead and we'll squat, you know, do the big stuff. And then it's just like 2 15-pounders but it was like 75 on each leg. And by the time you're done, it's just like, and it's just so much worse. But it's one of those things you figure out, I can lift some heavy stuff. And then you do the light stuff just ruins you. And you're like, yep, that's just humbling. I'm back to normal.
I did lunges literally today. So I feel you.
Sorry for tomorrow, because that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Travis, what's your fitness routine? He's like, I play games and try and stay awake.
Yeah, no,
Pockets, yeah.
No, I jog. I run like 15, 20 miles a day. That's been my. I can't do lifting like you guys. I don't have the body.
There's
for it.
a different
physique.
Yeah.
Doesn't work.
There's a different amount of like endorphins you get from running, though. I do miss it. I'd like to get back into it a certain amount, because the endorphins you get from cardio.
Yeah, I do.
Lifting doesn't quite give me the same rush.
They talk about like the runner's high too, and people are like, I signed up for a video game podcast. What the hell are you guys talking about right now?
Yeah.
But no, it's like the runner's high.
It's now a lifestyle podcast.
Yeah. But like that runner's high is one of those things people like joke about. And I've hit the runner's wall. That sucks too. But like the runner's high is one of those things. I do fitness kickboxing too. So that one's always a lot of fun. But every so often it's like you either have good days, but sometimes whether you're in at the moment or you're going, or if you were running, you just kind of hit that perfect song and you're just like, you go. I
love that. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't run in a while either, because I did, it was a Spartan Beast. So it ended up being about 15 miles, and about 2/3 of the way through my T-band just like lit up, and I was like walking for the rest of it. And I haven't been running much since. So that's why I try and do less distance, and the kickboxing still definitely will destroy me for cardio. So it works.
Yeah. Just let that heal up.
Yeah. Well, one more piece before we get into the current activities. Back to the thing of Destiny, because that tangent had to happen. Classes for Destiny. Seems like you've kind of touched on them all. But
she's a Titan now.
She is one with the Titans right now. So kind of wanted to see if you have like a favorite that you've experienced, or just like why you're on the Titan now. If you're just kind of in a cycle, what's the love of the classes? How you feeling about them?
Yeah, it's really just like depends on the meta. I think that the meta makes a big difference for me, and like how I make my builds, depending on the meta, is huge. So for me, slug shotties just feel really good on my Titan build. Like I get going with my chaperone, and I've got my Dune Marchers on with bottom tree hammers, and it just feels good. It's just fun. It's a really fun build. That being said, I was a hunter main for a long time. That's what I started on. And I didn't switch to any other classes until last year, actually. I finally made a warlock, male warlock, which was my first mistake, but it's fine. It's fine.
Where's Cognito when you say these things? Oh, our guest needs to be here. My co-host needs to be. He's a diehard warlock, so when you're like, I made a male warlock and it was wrong. I'm going to have to clip this one later for him. He's just got to see that.
When you're talking about warlocks, I think you have to call it die easy.
Yeah. Okay.
Not die
yeah.
hard.
There you go. Funny. Very funny. So I mained warlock for quite a while, and it was actually I was maining warlock when I started streaming last June, and I was an Ophidians warlock on Nova Bomb actually, and that's when I started learning how to snipe. So I found it easier to learn how to snipe on a warlock than a hunter, and so I basically mastered sniping last year. I was a sniper main for quite a while. And this was when like Revoker was still a thing. So I got Revoker,
it's a good way to
all
learn
that stuff. Yeah. And then I kind of started switching back and forth, went back to Hunter for a while, then finally made a Titan. Didn't spend any time on Titan until I think like early this year when I started scrimming in like last September or so. I started with Scrim Queens. And then I joined the band Cam Girls, which was at the time a scrimming clan. We don't scrim much these days just because of the current metas, and we just haven't. A lot of people aren't playing the game at the moment, which is fine. But I was scrimming a lot, and I realized that I wanted to be able to, because of scrim rules, you need to be able to adapt to like a lot of different play styles. So if somebody else only plays, Dawnblade Warlock with Beloved and Dire Promise, you need to be able to adapt and be like, okay, no problem. Like I can use Thorn and Shotgun on a Titan, like no problem. So for me, it was about wanting to just be comfortable on all classes. So that's what I did. And I started just playing all three on a weekly basis. And I just would rotate through all three of them all the time. And I just like every day I would get on and be like, oh, what do I feel like playing today? And we would switch it up. And sometimes I would get chat to vote for me just to make a decision. And so that's kind of how I do it now. I just play on all three every single week, depending on the map for trials too. Like every weekend, like I usually try to get flawless on all three characters, but otherwise it's like just whichever character is playing the best. Oh, I get carried. It's okay.
Nah.
You're part of a team there. Don't give yourself credit.
But yeah, it depends on the map. Like I just kind of switch it up depending. Currently, I think I'm having the most fun on Titan. It was funny. Someone came into my chat last week and was like, why do all girls play on Titan? I was like,
that's a ridiculous statement, but yes, continue.
I was like, first of all, I'm not sure what me being a girl has to do with me playing on Titan, but also we don't and it was funny because it was like literally rare. Right after I'd literally just switched to my Titan from Hunter, and I was like, but when I'm playing on Hunter, people are like, why do all girls play Hunter? And I'm like, man, you just can't win. Like, no. It was just such a silly. But now every time I'm like, yeah, Titan's my favorite right now, I'm like all self-conscious about it. Like, is that stereotypical of me?
I don't know. That has not been my experience.
No, I was like, most of the stuff I listen to, a lot of PvP people, especially in general, guy or girl, tend to lean Hunter, period. That's just what I hear for a lot of PvP.
Yeah, you look at the stats, like, yeah, especially casual players, I find most are on Hunter, but yeah, anyway.
Zoe is like, why do all girls play insert anything? They're just going to try and stare. There's a girl playing a video game, stereotype.
Yeah.
It just, I didn't want to honestly harp on that stuff, but I was going to say is like, just wanted to give you props if nothing else, because being a female in the gaming and streaming and all of that community, you got to have some thick skin in the first place. But just, it seems like you got a community like coming through chat and everything, but it's like, it's not an easy thing to do. People can give it a hard time. There's jokes about, some of the stuff you see on Twitch and stuff getting banned, and you can think about that all you want, but just somebody who wants to actually be like, hey, I want to play games on Twitch. Mm-hmm. There's so much stuff that the other side is not even going to think about that you have to deal with. And it's just not asking too many questions, just going to say props to you for actually doing everything that you do. Because
at the end of the day, as in any kind of, more like as a woman, like from my experience, like you can't win. You're people come after you whether you do or you don't. Like no matter what you do, there's something that people want to say something, and that's being a content creator in general is like that. You can't be perfect. You can't win. There's always going to be people that have something to say and are trying to bring you down just because they want to make you feel like shit. Like that's just the way it is. And
Yeah.
I will be honest, I definitely don't have the thickest of skin all the time because I'm human. And I'm also a very empathetic human, which means that words hurt. Like, it's just the way that it is. But I also don't think that, you know, like that's okay. Like, I can still be a content creator without perfectly thick skin. It's, you know, I can stand up for myself, and I can, it's okay for me to feel hurt by certain things, even though it's expected. And yeah, we just kind of, my community is really great, and they always have my back, and you know, it just helps really weed out the shitty ones, you know? You're like, okay, you know what? You're not cool. Let's get you out of there.
Bye.
Like,
That's the biggest thing is like,
Sure,
you just
he
got to
knows
be
about
quick
that.
on the delete button for some people, and just be like, you're not worth my time. Just see ya.
If you're making me uncomfortable, I'm going to ban you. Like, I am under no obligation to keep you here. And that's one thing I love about streaming is I have full control over who stays and who doesn't.
Well, you're right about, you know, not being able to win, but you can win at Crucible.
Can win at Crucible.
Is the ultimate revenge, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I had a question for you. And let's make this a segment. We'll call the segment Let's Help Ebontis. That's the name of the segment.
All right.
And the segment is give me your top tip for not sucking at Crucible. What is one thing that sort of like helped you kind of turn that corner to not being like, you know, the Ebontises of the world, basically?
Top tip. There's so many good tips. There's so many good tips.
I got my notepad over here. Hold on, let me get my legal pad. I'm ready.
Okay. I'm trying to think of like the ones that like really clicked with me early on.
Tip number 1. I'm ready.
Probably. Oh my God. Okay. Can I give 2 top tips?
Go 3. Go 3.
Okay.
You got space.
Yeah. I'll give one too. I'll give my top tip.
One of mine is positioning was a big one. And like major cues was like staying along walls, try not to just be in an open space all the time. Just, you know, hugging walls, you know, peeking corners slowly, peeking with your teammates. Like those are really important positioning cues. Also, if you're sniping, peeker's advantage. So another like positioning cue. And then the other one is probably, I've totally forgotten it now that I said that one. Knowing when to engage, when to continue engaging, and when to pull back, when to disengage. That was a big one. So, you know, knowing that if you've missed a shot and you're up against someone who's really good at 3 taps, like you get out of there and heal. You get out of there and heal and get back to your teammates. Or if you're, you know, you're better than them, like being able to stay in the engagement longer, even though you're down to like one tiny health, because you know you can win. So that was a big thing, knowing, because for a long time I would disengage too quickly. And I remember people being like, Sarah, you could have won that. Like, why'd you disengage? Like, why'd you run away? And I was like, I don't know. They hit me and I was low. And they were like, yeah, but if you'd stuck through it, just on your, you know, strafing, like you would have had it in the bag. Like, and then there's certain times where a trade is really good too. Like in trials, sometimes just getting a trade is better than nothing. So knowing when to engage and disengage and positioning are probably like my 2 top tips.
Nice.
Yeah.
Travis?
Those were like ones that like really clicked with me.
Yeah, positioning makes sense a lot, but like when to know when you may have lost a battle so you can go win the war seems to be like a bigger thing that I sometimes catch myself doing. Sometimes just throwing my body out there. I'm like, I'm just trying to knock out bounties. I don't even care. But if I'm actually conscious about it and start playing for a little while, that is one of those things that I notice. It's like, as you said, sometimes you think like, oh, I'm being too cautious. I could have been in there a little more. Or on the other side, it's like, that was stupid. I should have pulled back because I had the opportunity to.
Yep.
Yeah, I think positioning is when the game is working correctly, aka like not when stasis was the thing. Positioning is like the key to winning.
GLs also mess up positioning as well.
Yeah, exactly. But the like the whole positioning game when gunplay is what wins rather than, you know, single powers that freeze you and then kill you. I'm still trying to get out of that mindset. But I think positioning is very important. And so I think my top tip, like the thing that made me in Destiny anyway, go from like being, you know, decently good to okay, to being like very good, especially back in the D1 days, was my group of friends has something called the 2-second rule, which is
that was gonna be my third one, the 2-second rule.
The 2-second rule.
Huge.
So That's I can't
Big
remember
for sniping
who,
too. Like if you're trying to learn how to snipe.
especially. I can't remember who coined that. Was it Astacross or someone? I can't
I want
remember
to say
who.
it was Astacross.
It was
Yeah.
him or-
somebody coined this term. But
And then
basically,
Ascended Nomad, I feel like, did a video on that too. I've heard.
Yeah,
I've heard that
maybe it was
going
Nomad.
around.
It's
so.
definitely gotten a lot more traction. One person like definitely did it first,
Yeah.
but I think it was Astacross. But
I can't remember who it is. But anyway, the 2-second rule, if you don't know what it is that if you're standing somewhere in Crucible and you have been standing there for more than 2 seconds, it actually no longer makes sense for you to stand there because all you're doing is giving the other team more information and you're giving them the ability to kind of control the battle because they know where you're at, you're a known quantity, and all you're doing is kind of just like taking up space. But if you're constantly changing your positioning, you keep them
playing with their
guessing
radar.
Yeah, playing with their radar, and you get to control the combat on your own terms. And that's like I think the most important thing to winning Crucible is to just like don't just stand there and like expect to win just by team shooting and like hard scoping and doing like a static kind of push. You need to be like dynamic and willing to roll with the punches and do stuff that they're not expecting. And once I started playing that way, it was just so much easier to win Crucible matches. So that's my talk.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Well,
and I mean, it also that rule. If you can follow that rule, it also avoids the game feeling slow because if you just stand in one spot, like sure, maybe on certain maps and in certain metas, standing in one spot the whole game and team shooting is going to get you where you need to be, like with DMT and GLs and stasis. But it makes the game so slow and boring. So if you don't want to play slow and boring, follow the 2-second rule. It'll make you better at the game in the long run so that no matter what meta you come across, you can win and it keeps it interesting. So
on the other side, on more specifics, do you guys have any tips when it comes to somebody who wants to get better at sniping and somebody who wants to get better at shotgunning? Because those are kind of two extremes of the special weapons.
I'll take shotgunning on this one. You can
sure.
You can take sniping.
Yeah, I recently went back to shotgunning mostly. I'm trying to get back into sniping again. Since the flinch changes, I definitely stopped sniping a little bit. Like I didn't notice a huge change in my skill level, but I decided I was just more consistent with my shotgun. But when I first started learning how to snipe, 2-second rule was one thing. That was a big one because positioning when you're sniping is so different than as a shotgunner. Your positioning is super different. So it's learning the lanes on each map, which sometimes can take a couple games. So if you're going into trials, learning the lanes that people are peeking, a lot of times they'll peek the same lanes over and over again. Keep to that 2-second rule though. Change up your lane that you're peeking. Don't get stuck in your scope too long. And don't run around with your sniper out. Do not run around with your sniper out. Keep your primary out. Your primary should still be your number one weapon that you're trying to use. Use your sniper it's supplementary to your primary. Because team shooting is still definitely a big thing. If you're going for that first pick, though, make sure you get to that lane fast before the other team. And yeah, just try and figure out where they're peeking. As far as the aiming goes, it just comes with time. And my rule is that if you really want to learn how to snipe, just keep going into 6v6 games. Don't put your sniper down. Even though I just said put your sniper down in like more competitive game modes. If you're learning how to aim with your sniper, just don't put it down. Keep your sniper out and just keep trying to click heads because you'll figure out where that hitbox is. And every sniper is different. So maybe for the first little while, just stick to one with the same zoom, the same scope, and get comfortable with it before you start switching it up. So that's probably
all good tips.
Yeah.
My tips for shotgun are become one with the ape. Try to make like animalistic monkey sounds while you're running around with your shotgun. No, my actual tip is kind of similar to yours actually for shotguns, which is I feel like when people say like, oh, I'm running shotgun, they take their shotgun out as soon as the match starts and they start running.
Yep.
And that might win the day for like the first round you do it if you're really just doing a hard push. But sooner or later, if the team is worth their salt at all, they know the score and they back up on you. And then if you run around a corner with a shotgun, you just get blasted before you can get close to them. So it's really, don't rely on your shotgun as primary ammo. Like that's the key, is to find a primary that's useful and complements shotgun well, is good at medium range. And then wait for opportunities when somebody's running around a corner recklessly or thinks that they have you in a corner because they hit you with a grenade or something like that. And then you pull out your shotgun and you turn the tables on them really quickly. And it's good at that's kind of the main advantage of the shotgun is when things get tight and your opponents think that they have you, you can one-shot them. And that's how I run around with Chaperone or Duality and just, tap people at medium and close range whenever they think they've got me. And I think that's the best way, at least for me. That's what works with using a shotgun, is to be humble and don't use it as your primary ammo. Wait for those opportunities.
Agreed. I think the other thing that's applicable to both, an accompaniment to any special weapon, is always be ready with your primary right after you take a shot. Yes. So for me, that was the biggest thing, is I don't try to go for a double body. If I get a body, I already have my primary out. Ready, and then sometimes I'll click ahead and I'll have my primary out. It also helps if there's two enemies there, maybe one you didn't see, you've got your primary out ready to go in case you have no sniper ammo left, so, or shotgun ammo, whatever it is, and then you're ready to quickly follow up with your primary. So quick swapping between your energy weapon, or sorry, your special weapon and your primary weapon is huge. Like, pull out that primary right away. Don't be prepared to do a double body because it's a waste of ammo, first of all. Usually if you've bodied them, you can clean it up with your primary, but also it just better prepares you in case there's more enemies, and then you can team shoot as well. So that's a big one for me on both shotgunning and sniping.
Hard to go wrong with those.
Yeah.
There you go, E. So this has been Let's Help Ebontis, a new segment on the last word that we're going to do every week, I assume.
Depends on the guest, but definitely having a Crucible focused lady on here is a good time to do that. So thank you for that, by the way.
I'm not even that good.
You'd beat me, I'm pretty sure.
I'm average.
And humble, apparently, so.
Yeah.
I'm addicted to segments. So someone
Travis is addicted to segments, transitions, and runs of show. Yeah.
I like format, okay? I like format.
He's like, I need bullet points here. Come on, we got to work through this thing in order. He's like, do you ever run a show? And I'm like, we got a general idea. I was like, we just typically let it flow. So,
yeah, close enough.
But as for kind of the actual activities going on in this game that we're playing currently, depending on if you're playing it that actively or not, I don't think anybody could miss the big Twitter post. I think it was Wednesday in green. The wonderful tease for what is coming in the future. So I wanted to get your guys' takes. Sarah, you get to go first since you are the special guest. So
okay,
what are your thoughts about any in it? Because, first time we talk about this stuff all the time, but it's like first time being on the show. Thoughts about anything that could be coming on the 24th or in the future? Table's yours. So go nuts.
I have no idea. Being someone who I never played D1. I honestly have no clue what's going on with this story most of the time. I'll be honest with you. I'm
a true Crucible player.
A true PvP main. I don't know what's happening with the story.
In this game?
If I didn't have a Conqueror title and I didn't have a Day 1 Bog emblem, I would be like, I don't PvE ever. But I do occasionally, but I still don't know what's happening in the story. So I really have no idea. I know that they haven't really done these kinds of teasers recently or at all. So lately. But I have no idea what's to come. I also am at the point in this game where I just keep a very open mind and I try to manage my expectations just so that I'm not disappointed, because I think the community as a whole can get super worked up and excited and have high expectations for things, and they're kind of let down when it's just not what they expected or not what they'd hoped for. And if I manage my expectations and I just, I'm curious, but it could be really nothing, then usually I'm surprised and I'm pleased by the outcome. So that's where I'm at with it. I don't have any clue what it means. I'm behind on my story missions, actually. I haven't done the most recent. I think the last
this
two
season's been,
I missed. But it's been good. Yeah. I still don't really know what's going on, but I've only missed 2 so far. So. Anyway.
I have a lot of thoughts. So I'm weird.
Before you go, let me ask Sarah one more thing. When it comes to Witch Queen, as expansions obviously are substantial to the game, Shadowkeeps, Beyond Light, and then potentially Witch Queen or whatever the hell they're going to call it, because that name I don't know if it's going to stay. What do you want from it? Being a PvP main especially.
PvP maps?
I was going to say, this is a T-ball question, but it was for you, as a PvP player who what's going to help keep you invested? What's going to help make the, what's going to help you stay in the game more, as opposed to when you said maybe
anti-cheat maps. That's really it. That's all I really care about right now. Anti-cheat and maps.
Short
I
list.
don't.
Nice.
Bravo.
I'm managing my expectations. I'm not asking for a lot. And at this point, being someone who again didn't play D1, I'd be willing and accepting of them bringing back old maps just because I've never experienced them.
Yeah.
That being said, to
How about
keep the
old game
community.
modes?
Old game modes would be good. I have heard great things about a couple old game modes that I would love to
Rift.
try that I never got to play. Yeah. So that would be super cool. We really need a better anti-cheat. That being said, I've heard things have been pretty good recently. I haven't done trials yet this weekend, but I voted Anomaly, by the way, just so everyone knows.
Oh boy, Anomaly.
It's really good for my Titan build. Those Doom Marchers,
that map.
those Doom Marchers and Sunspots, man, they just wreck shit up.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
In Anomaly.
That is.
But anyways, that's
Makes sense.
if all we got out of Witch Queen were those two things, I think the community would be much happier. That being said, I still don't have high expectations, and I'm expecting nothing.
From Crucible.
Just for Crucible specifically. I am excited to see what they bring out PvE wise and for the story, even though I don't know what's going on. It's still fun, especially to watch everybody else experience it alongside me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm managing my expectations. I don't have.
Yes,
We'll see.
well,
Fingers crossed.
Rift
but-
was the greatest thing that ever happened to Destiny.
Yeah.
It was an
That may be
amazing
a bit
capture
of a
the
high
flag
bar there,
game.
sir.
How dare you?
How dare
Was it
you, sir? How
4v4?
dare
Rift was 4v4?
No.
Or was it 3v3 still?
I think it was 6v6.
I think it was sixes. Yeah.
Oh, it's
Rift
a
was
66
sixes,
mode.
yeah.
It's a
I'm thinking of
huge
something
mode.
else.
Yeah, but it's
what
like
is the
a
one you're
capture
thinking
the
of?
flag,
What's the?
the kill confirmed.
No, it was the one where you had to like salvage. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Oh, maybe.
Wow, I forgot that was in the game.
Right?
Dude. that was so long
It's
ago.
been a little while. That turned into
Wow.
salvage. Sadly, turned into you don't want to pick it up first because it was harder to defend than to get it. So it's like the
That's right,
game
yeah.
mode was broken for a while. But yeah,
Yeah. Rift was like a capture the flag game mode where
Okay.
I guess it was more like bomb because it was
you'd
was there
capture
an
the
attack and
middle. You'd
defense?
capture the middle and have to dunk
That's
on their
right.
side.
It was more like an assault game mode because there's
Yeah.
there's a rift in the middle. Teams fight for it, and then when you get it, you have to fight to the opposite team's side and dunk it into their side. So it's like an assault game.
You
mode.
could backflip
That
dunk
sounds
for
fun.
style points.
Yes, and you could backflip to get more points. So it was cool because it made like mobility matter more. People
Oh,
could
that's
help even if they
cool.
weren't good at killing. You could still help carry and do sneaky maneuvers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. And I don't know why they took it out, but that game mode came with the Taken King, which was sort of, there's a lot of parallels between the Taken King and Savathûn because this is sort of like the sequel to the Taken King in a lot of ways because we're fighting Oryx's sister.
Yep.
So this would be a great time to reintroduce it is my point. But yeah, I'm with you. We badly need Crucible maps. I think we need at least one new game mode. Anti-cheat, obviously people on PC would like that. I don't care. I play on Xbox. I abandoned PC because of cheaters a long time ago. But I do hope they fix it for your guys' sake.
And that being said, like with crossplay coming out, like it would be nice for you to feel like you can play with your homies.
Right.
That's
the
true.
thing.
But
Yeah,
I
you
can
wanna
just turn
turn-
that
without-
off. So
Yeah, you can turn it off, but how nice would it be if that wasn't a like, you know, for you
Yeah.
to play with your PC buds without feeling like cheating is going to be a component
That's
to that.
true.
Like,
my entire clan is on PC.
Yeah.
None of them play on Xbox. So I
so I think anti-cheat would just benefit everybody.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
Oh no,
It is something
absolutely.
they need to do. I do think they'll at least address anti-cheat just based on their hiring. They've hired a whole bunch
Mm-hmm.
of people to tackle anti-cheat recently, and I would be really surprised if they'd made zero progress toward their.
I feel like things
end
are
goal.
already feeling a
By
little
which-
better. So yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe they've done some stuff behind the scenes
They
without
got that
announcing it,
guy
which would
last
be the
week.
smart.
I was like,
Oh, that
DMG
was
called
so
that guy
funny.
out. That was beautiful. We talked about that last week.
I already had him blocked, honestly, but I like didn't really know what was going on, and then like it came up in my clan chat, and I was like, oh, okay, well,
It
seems
was
like I.
It was like we're gonna, well, you know, we usually go through our security checks, and then he got back in later after checking, fired, like just
Triple
shut
checking,
It,
yeah.
shut it down. Multiple 4 accounts have been banned that are all attached to you. It's over. It was so
TMG.
It was just a professional mic drop, and it was beautiful to watch.
It was. That's a great way of putting it. A professional mic drop. Yes,
That was
exactly
great.
what it was.
Yeah. So what about you, Travis? What are you looking forward to in the world of Witch Queen? Are we going to
Yeah.
open this can of worms?
Yeah, dude. Let's open it. Well, first I have some notes. As usual, I find a way to complain about everything. Even
Yeah.
the good news.
I have opinions.
my-
This man has pages of notes.
I do. I really do have pages of notes. I diary about this every night. Dear diary, today Bungie hurt me in the following ways. They changed Savathun's sigil again. I don't know if I haven't seen anything on the internet of people noticing this. Have people noticed it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one that was on the wall, the one that was shown in the promo trailer, and now this one, the people have been putting everything to Vin Diesel in the middle of it. So
oh my God, Vin Diesel.
I saw that. I was confused, but okay.
Vin Diesel's been on fire.
Family
this
is
week.
everywhere. So let's just go with that.
We've had a great week in the Fast and Furious community, family.
The memes? Yep.
The memes have been
They're
great.
Good. They've been great.
Yeah. So they changed Savathun's logo again. That's my first note. My second note is survive the truth is, while provocative, means nothing really. I mean, like, it's just a really weird way to put it is all I have to say. I get what they're going for. I think they probably wanted to. Somebody gave a sub to McClunky. There's somebody named McClunky in chat. I don't.
Seriously?
Sorry, I just saw that in the notes.
Because he's Travis, and then all of a sudden there's McClunky in chat. Yeah,
there's a McClunky in chat.
There's a McClunky in here. Shout out to McClunky. That's beautiful.
So that's my second note. But I am very excited. I think this is going to be like season of arrivals for the Witch Queen. It's going to be like my tweet when I first saw this was, it's a season for dominoes to fall. I think it's going to be just stuff happening and set up for the Witch Queen. I think we'll probably see Osiris turn officially, and either that'll be the kind of starting off point, or it'll be something that we as the player know that our characters haven't figured out yet. Maybe we'll see kind of cutscenes with him doing some shady stuff, but I think that will definitely be revealed at some point during the season at one point or another. And I think other stuff that's sort of been in the planning stages will start to happen. I think we'll start to see like dominoes fall and changes, and the Witch Queen will feel a lot more real over the next season. That's my theory. And they have a ton of time with the season because of the delay. I think it's like a
6 months easily, probably.
Season.
Yeah, it could be as long as they want it. And it's like, that's the curiosity thing, is I'm wondering if they'll show the date in the Vidoc or whatever they do.
I have no idea if they'll show the date. I feel like they probably have to at least give us a window or something, some expectation. But either way, the next season I think that we're going to see announced has got to be kind of feel more like a trickle, because it can't just be dead forever. So I think they're really gonna stretch it out. I have no idea how they'll do it. It'll probably be a drag on the community, like it always is when they stretch stuff out.
PvE drag for sure.
Yeah, but the breadcrumbs, I think they have a lot of work to do, I think, to make Savathun feel real before the Witch Queen. Because if Savathun just shows up in the Witch Queen and then we kill her a couple hours later, I think players are frankly pretty
they better not.
Tired of that. And I think it would be great if they spent the 8 months actually building her up as a villain and making her someone that we haven't been able to beat yet, and then use the Witch Queen season as us finally beating her. You know what I mean? Something like that. I mean, I'm one of those guys who's just said for years that like we need to not actually kill the villain, and it would be great if they could get away and come back. That way, you know, we have a relationship with them for longer than
that's true.
One
that's
season.
That's a good point.
I've always thought that they should do that, but if they're not willing to do that, which I don't think they will be, given the fact that Lightfall is next, and that's probably going to be a completely different thing, I think they should at least use those 8 months to build a relationship with Savathun and make her a force to be reckoned with. I want us to lose for 8 months. I want it to be 8 months of just Guardians getting beat before the Witch Queen comes out and we actually get to push back. I would love that. Because then that would build the hype and build her up as a villain for all that time. But we'll see, man. I think we've got a good expansion ahead of us, and it's really just all about how they introduce us to that expansion over the next 6-7 months or however the heck long it's going to be before she makes her appearance. But I'm super excited, man. The story's been crazy. Osiris is definitely sus, as we discussed last week.
Osiris is
very sus.
Wait, I'm not there yet.
Osiris.
Well, don't take this as a spoiler, because nothing has happened.
It's fine. I'll probably need my chat to tell me exactly what's happening anyways, because usually I'm like, okay, I'm done. What happened?
It's all very subtle stuff right now,
It really is just people like me who are reading too much into it, and there's a chance that we're wrong, but I really don't think so at this point. So it just seems like Savathun has her tentacles wrapped around different events in the tower, and a lot of people are speculating that Osiris is under her influence in some way. So
interesting.
It should be pretty cool though. I'm very excited to see where it goes, and I couldn't be more hyped for this stuff. I'm one of those guys where like I don't mind putting Destiny down for months at a time while there's a content drought. Like I'm totally fine with doing that, but I get hyped as soon as there's an expansion. Like I love new Destiny content. I always say, Destiny's biggest problem is it doesn't have enough content to satiate the starving masses that want to play this game every single day. And these are the rare
unless you're
occasions
PvP main.
Unless you're people, no, even especially
even
PvP
then.
mains.
No,
We don't
maps?
have any content.
Oh my god!
I'm just saying, you guys last longer than some of them though, because you have that to fall back on.
PvP mains have been starving in the desert for like 5 years.
Yes.
Yeah,
really
see what
bad.
I do? I drag out my PvE content through the whole season though, because I dabble in PvP the whole way through. So I try to switch it up because I need breaks from PvP too. Because
right.
Damn, right now, like I mean, it's the meta's getting better, but like I'm so glad 140s are back in the game. They feel relevant again, but like I still need PvE as well. Like I still do raids, and I'm planning on pretty much once I'm tired of PvP, then I'll go and do like my GMs to like Guild my Conqueror and like all that kind of stuff. So
nice.
She's a gamer.
But,
yeah. But yeah, I just new content needs to happen, and anytime we get to learn about what they're cooking up, it's exciting stuff, man.
Yeah, I was like, for me, it's kind of with you guys where I know we're looking for stuff out to Witch Queen, but yeah, it's like the timing of it's very specific because they have the hint of Witch Queen, even though the logo keeps changing. So we have to think it's still related to Witch Queen by the color. It's green. So that at least seems to be one consistent piece. It does seem timing wise, whatever they're going to tell us about what's coming in the future, they have to tell us the day the season launches because they're probably going to start explaining things that are coming when the season starts. Because when season 15, that story kicks off, it's directly going to tie into Witch Queen. So I feel like they're going to tell us both, but they can't tell us too much at the same time. So it's this weird line where they're going to, hey, this is a tease of all the stuff we're coming and working on. And they could be like, hey, there's systems we're working on. Story has these things, and then go log into the game. I'll be very curious to like servers always for me. It's like for you, I guess West Coast, it's going to be what 10 a.m. Pacific for you guys. And then it's probably going to be 8 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock in the morning. That hour before they'll do that, stream or Vidoc or whatever they post like right before when the servers are down or something, when they take that down and then post it all up. And then you go in and go live. And then if you're trying to create content, you're like, I can't do both. Crap. I hate that moment.
So
that's the worst moment. I hate that moment. It's like, here's a Vidoc to cover about a whole bunch of new stuff. By the way, new season, go. Crap, I need two of me. Yeah.
Is that the day the new season's coming?
The 24th. Yeah, it's the exact same day. And they said they usually like to do them in the morning on the West Coast. I'm like, you're going to do it right before the new season. The servers are going to go down probably at like 9. Vidoc or the stream's going to go live. You'll have about an hour, patches, all that stuff, and then go play your new season. I think that's how they've done that before, and I think that's how they're going to do it again. So I feel like the timing requires season 15 to, as you said, set up the dominoes to fall. It's going to start doing things because
it must be strategic. Like they must be talking about some stuff that directly ties into the new season.
Yeah.
Because then everybody's excited to log on and like gives you a little bit of info. I feel like they wouldn't do that all on the same day. That's a lot for them too. If you think about it, like a new season going live, servers are already stressed. Like their whole team's going to be ready to deal with like, bugs, whatever. And then they're also doing the Vidoc the same day. Like it's a lot. So I feel like that's got to be very strategic.
This is also 2 weeks before Witch Queen was supposed to launch originally.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's almost like this is when they would do their reveal of like, here's what's going to happen with Witch Queen. But now the actual launch date is further down. So they've got this extra season of padding they can do with whatever they want. And I hope that they use it as an opportunity to build the hype and the story and the narrative leading into the Witch Queen, instead of making it like, kind of like what Arrivals was, which was there wasn't really a lot happening in that season. It was sort of all just going, hey, there's this new expansion we have coming this fall, and this is sort of just getting you hyped for that, but there's not really a whole lot going on.
Was the Arrivals the season that we had for like months and months and months and months and months?
Yeah, and it was the one where the ships were showing up.
Oh, the darkness ships.
Activity. And that season.
And then it dragged on forever.
It dragged on forever.
It was a drought. It was, the content.
Yeah, they had those giant pyramids show up in the skyboxes, but then they didn't really do anything all that season.
And then it was just like, oh, here's a picture of the director. Bye. I'm like,
and then the director disappeared. Yeah.
Oh, and have we talked about that thing that happened in the rest of the solar system in like 9 months? Nope. Haven't touched that one yet.
Yeah.
Those type of dangling threads are what's killing me sometimes in the story. But as you guys have also said, Chosen was good storytelling, some of the best that we've had. And then this season is just like crushing it between like the interaction with the Fallen, the setup of the Fallen camp. Then we've actually had Mithrax talking with us, going through. Sussurus has been going on. We've had the Expunge, the little subtle things in an Expunge where it's, I got to keep Cognito here in spirit at least. So
yeah, absolutely.
All the little stuff that they've been setting up, as you said. And then if you go into this season, or you think about this season with the suspicion that Osiris potentially has been, you know, kind of taken over by Savathun, or he's kind of being used by her, it really gives this season a whole lot to think about. Is like some of the things he says are just way too crazy to be even anything but just suspect. So that's why I will be curious what happens with Epilogue to see where we go into the season, because that's something. Now, do I have high expectations after like the closing ceremony? No. The closing ceremony of Guardian Games was nothing. And so at least Epilogue is 2 weeks long and not a weekend. And I'm going to be gone for when it happens. So supposedly there's some story thing that's going to happen. But outside of that, I don't know. But as for like Witch Queen itself, man, I'm excited. And I keep saying is like, take the time they want to get it right. Because, you know, PvP, maps, modes, if they need an extra couple months, launch it in March, launch it in April. It's like, I know there's going to be a big gap, but I think there's a lot of people who've been waiting on so much at this point. If Witch Queen doesn't land well, you could wait an extra couple months, but if it comes out early and it's botched, that's going to be a problem, I think. I know it's always like, is this the season that like makes or breaks Destiny? But there's a lot of weight that I keep listening in different podcasts and places. I think there's a lot of weight on this season. More like not more than normal, but I think this season does have a lot of weight on it. Or not this season, but right. Witch Queen.
And I think it has to do with the way they've branded it as the beginning of this final trilogy of expansions that's going to kind of end the darkness and light. Because they kind of set Beyond Light up as that first chapter in the trilogy, and then they retconned it and were like, no, we're going to do an extra year. Yeah. And I get why they did it is because I reviewed Beyond Light for IGN and I gave it a 7, which I don't think is what you want for this trilogy that's going to end your series. You want a 9, like The Taken King. I think The Taken King has like a 9 or something close to it on Metacritic. Like that's sort of and I think that's what they're hoping this will be. I think this is like, hey, Destiny 2 is back and it's off on the right foot and it's got all the stuff you want. And I think refocusing on PvP and showing that they're still dedicated to doing that and really nailing the story with the PvE content and doing some of the stuff that I feel like they've been setting up for this whole time could be great. And then all they have to do after that is show us what they have planned for the expanded universe that they've been telling us about for a couple of years now, with other stuff going on and apparently other games they're working on that possibly are in the Destiny universe and all that stuff. So there's a lot to live up to, but I think you're right. Yeah, I think there's tremendous pressure for this to be what they've been waiting for, or maybe they add another year to Destiny. Next year is the beginning of the final trilogy.
I feel like it's this like we're constantly like fighting with ourselves. Like, yes, take the time you need to make this a really good season, but also like that drought is really hard for us to get to, and also that drought puts more pressure on them and also increases our expectations. So the longer they take, the more we're like, okay, they're taking extra time to make this really great. So it's like, is there going to be a massive difference between them releasing it earlier or 4 months later? Like, it's just like, I still manage my expectations. Like, I just don't.
Yes, that's the biggest thing.
know if that's actually going to happen. So, but I do agree. And I think that there's a lot of big content creators that are kind of looking at Witch Queen as like, this is the start of that trilogy. Like, this is going to basically decide whether this is a game that I stick with or if I start really diversifying my content and going in a different direction. Because like there's a lot of people that I think have been for a year or so that are like, this game, like it's just, they keep saying it's going to get better, like more PvP content, and it just doesn't. So I don't know.
PvP mains.
Yeah. I was like, it's different.
Ruining the game.
No, it's like PvP. I do less and then I do more PvE stuff. But it sounds like, I mean, you guys are balanced. You still raid. You still do all those things. So it's like you hit the big stuff. You hit the tough stuff. It's just if you're going to lean somewhere, you're like, I'll just probably go play Crucible. Me, I'm like, I'll probably go.
I do think also PvP mains are better at PvE, learning PvE than PvE mains are at learning PvP.
I actually believe that.
our shot is already on point. Like, we're killing those dregs like no other. Like, I'm hitting all headshots, okay? I can go into a raid with Thorn, and I'm like, no problem.
Yeah, you should see my PvE KD Ebontis.
Yeah.
Off the hook. You wouldn't believe it.
Yeah. I've already perfected, like, making builds. My mods are, like, top-notch. Like, good to go.
Yeah,
that's actually probably a fair point.
The thing, E, is that I think we've talked about this before. I would be curious to hear your opinion, Smolhat. I've been telling E and Cog that PvP mains would just play a different game that has better PvP if it weren't for the fact that Destiny's part of this ecosystem that you get just to hang out with your friends in, and the fact that it has PvE is part of the reason PvP mains put up with the fact that PvP has a ton of shortcomings. Like, if you wanted a better multiplayer experience, there's a lot of games you could play, but they don't 100%. Have as diverse an ecosystem as Destiny, and that's what keeps us around. So we're interested to hear if that's
I agree with that. Yeah, and I mean, for me too, I think Destiny is my comfort zone at this point because I haven't tried out a ton of other FPS games. So Destiny 2 is just my comfort zone. I like it here. I'm good at it. I'm, not quite ready to go to another game to feel like a noob again. I'm trying to play more Halo and like actually branch out a bit. I'm working through all the campaigns right now, and then I'll get into PvP. Oh. And then I want to get through everything kind of before Infinite comes out. So we'll see.
Are you on the Halo Insiders program yet? Mm-mm. Sign up for that because they're going to do that beta for Halo Infinite this summer. And if you sign up for Halo Insiders now, you can play it when it's pre-release.
It's a lot of pressure.
It's my recommendation. It's good content right there. Yeah, plus
good
Halo
content.
Awesome.
Just it's a test. It's a tease. Just dip your toe in the water, see how it feels.
Dip my toes in. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, if you're playing through the Halo campaigns for the first time.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. But I do agree. Sorry. I think that for me, it is I do play like all aspects of the game. I definitely prefer PvP. I haven't played Gambit in like 3 seasons, guys.
Touched it this season.
I get to light level cap without my Gambit.
Oh yeah,
pinnacles.
No, pass.
Does Gambit even help you anymore? Does it give any?
I don't know.
It gives you one plus one pinnacle, but that's it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. I don't.
Per season?
No. Per week, it's a weekly plus one.
A weekly pinnacle. Yeah.
The reason I stopped touching it is because last season when they did the seasonal challenges, you'd look through and be like, "Oh, there's a Gambit thing," and there was the one for the ranks, and I was like, "All right, fine. I'll do one crazy stupid stream and I'll work through the range because it was triple infamy, and you get rolling, fine." Then like weeks later, it was like get 40 kills in Gambit, and I'm like, and it's not retroactive. I stopped every Gambit playing at that point. I'm like, if I'm going to play Gambit, I'm going to wait till the end of the season when everything's already available. Because if I'm going to touch any of those seasonal challenges, they better all be open. Or if they're not retroactive, it's crap. So I stopped playing Gambit.
Fan theory for Witch Queen. It opens with the Drifter shows up and he's got a really long beard and he's super overweight. And he's like,
did he go Avengers Thor?
He's Avengers Thor. And he comes out and he's just like, all right. You guys ready to? And then
did you age 50 years, man? Arc. What happened?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we need to do that. So show that he has bloated, and then we can have a redemption arc for him that kind of rebrands Gambit.
Are you working with him on his nutrition, putting him on the treadmill, working out with him, got some weights in there?
It's kind of a Rocky montage of like trying to get him back into shape and also trying to fix Gambit as a game mode, and then he kind of gets rebranded. Maybe he can have that the man bun now. He goes.
Oh my god! This is one of your diary writings. I think this is one of your journals.
Like this is too thought through.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm literally just making this up as we go. But
I don't believe this. I believe this has been previously thought about.
I'd play that. That sounds like great content.
For sure would. Yeah. And then it would also make me feel like, okay, well, Gambit's a different mode now. Even if they changed nothing about it, seeing his arc, I'd be like, well, it must be different now. So
it feels different. He's got that old scraggly voice. Well, I'm in here doing sit-ups in the tower. Please go kill the Taken.
Like those moats. Yeah. Oh God.
I cannot say when I started this podcast we were going to be talking about Fat Drifter, but it happened.
We're here. We're here now.
We're here. We're doing this thing. Words. Those are fun. So, well, what else happened this week? Solstice. Okay, what else happened? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I haven't touched it.
Next.
I dropped into the EAZ. I went and fed the cat, and I got a shotgun.
Nice.
Yeah. I got a decent roll, but
nice.
That's all I did, and then I left.
I haven't found the cat yet. I need to go do that.
Yeah, I did
do some Solstice, and I regret it.
I haven't done any. I might just buy everything.
I think you have to do some to be able to buy the ornaments, and then once you can do that, you can stop.
I don't know.
What level do you have to get to buy them?
It looked like I could just buy it. I don't know.
You just have to get purple. You have to get the armor to purple.
That's not that bad.
The blue set takes no time at all. That was quick.
Yeah.
So I'm busy with.
I'm probably just gonna do one.
I'm gonna get it.
I think
purple,
Titan only.
Get the ornaments. Yeah,
I did my Warlock last year, and I did my Hunter the year before. So it's kind of
there. You go. Got a little variety set. Yeah,
as all things should be.
Yeah.
I've not been enjoying it so far, but I also barely dip my toes. I'm busy with other projects for IGN right now, but I want to.
It's all right. You got
at
a
least
month.
Get the purple armor, and then is it on for a month?
Yes.
It goes for the whole thing.
Yeah, it's 4 weeks.
So I've got plenty of time. I'm not worried about it.
I just honestly, the EAZ activity, guys, I have a terrible sense of direction. Okay, IRL and in game.
Okay.
And so I'm literally running around trying to figure. I'm like, okay, I see them on my radar. I see the marker. How the heck do I get up there? I'm like trying to. I'm like, I get turned around and people are like, "Sorry, you just went the same way you came." And I'm like, And then next thing you know, my teammates have killed all the bosses and I've done nothing. So it's very, very frustrating for a directionally challenged person.
This is your first time doing Solstice, then?
Yeah,
third time actually.
Oh. What? And you still don't know the map? Wow.
Third time.
How much time have you put into it previously?
I told you I did one character each year.
Okay.
Fully.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Fully.
And still struggling because it has been the same map.
It's the same map.
I don't know. Maybe I just block it out because it's such a terrible experience. So I just...
That checks out.
I don't think you understand how bad my sense of direction is.
So for you going to new places in real life,
Crucible maps.
Yeah, Crucible maps are so much smaller though, and there's not multiple levels. It's the levels that get me.
It's the verticality that really messes you up.
The verticality. Oh my god.
I wish this game had more verticality.
There's
in general,
a reason Twilight Gap is my least favorite Crucible map. Okay, it's just there's too much verticality. I get
Twilight Gap.
Yeah.
I like Twilight.
It was actually not bad for Trials a couple weekends ago. But
okay, so you're going to a new destination in real life. Are you just glued to that GPS directions or
yes.
Is Siri talking you through every
yes.
You'll turn in 5 feet, 2 feet, no feet, go. Okay.
Yeah. And I usually stare at the map before I leave my house, and then I go. The best plan of action is really someone else should just drive me. But okay, a great example of my directionally challenged tendencies. I can drive somewhere. So say somebody's in the passenger seat next to me. We'll be driving somewhere. They're giving me directions to their house, for example, and they're saying turn left here, turn right here, go down the street. I get there and I'm like, okay, how do I get home? That's how now that I'm turned around and I have to go back the way
opposites.
I came.
Yep.
I can't. I have no idea. And I
have
to
live
map
with
my
them
way.
Now.
No idea. I'm was it a right or a left here? My other left? I don't know. It's So anyway,
there he is.
The EAZ just is not. It's not. It's just not my.
So okay, directionally challenged. Is that ever an issue in a raid?
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So you know how there was when VOG came out, I got my day one, right?
Nice.
With my PvP clan. We crushed it in 13 hours. We did the whole thing with lots of breaks, and we used numbers. So we tried using the directions and we ended up successfully completing it with numbers. And then there was, social media blew up and everybody had an opinion on what best way to make callouts for VOG. And I personally work best with numbers, just the way my brain works. And I think that's because I was like, okay, I kind of picture it like a clock, and like, you know, your spawn location is 1. So it was always on the stairs at spawn. That was 1. And that's just how, and then I worked clockwise from there. And that's just how my brain worked. As soon as people start throwing in left, right, back, front, close, far, I was like, close to you or close to me? Like, I don't know. Like, I just like, my brain would get so confused. And it's not saying that that doesn't work well for some people. For some people, that is just the way, that works best for them. We also used some really interesting callouts at one point, and it's proof that like once you get used to it, you can do any callouts. And it was like, yeah, they're inappropriate. But
I think I just figured out some interesting ones for your direction issues.
What's that?
You just have to get a compass and put clock numbers around it. So make north 12 p.m. and then just put it all the way around, and then you'll just know where to go. Oh,
you gotta go east. 3 p.m. Okay.
Yeah.
Take a 3 o'clock.
Take a 3 o'clock.
Got that. Yeah.
Done.
6 o'clock.
You can bill me.
You need to take a 6 o'clock. Oh, like a U-turn? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Done. I just figured it out, man. You're cured.
Beautiful. Yeah. Got the numbers and directions
Maybe
mixed together.
This is what I need to do for the AZ too. Like when I spawn in, I need to like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, like, you know, make it a clock. Yeah,
until you hit one of the teleporters, get launched up into the air, and then you're above the whole map and you're in trouble.
No. Yeah, okay, maybe that won't work. I don't know.
Like, where am I? I don't know. I'm way up in the sky. Help. No, it's like for me, I grinded out my Solstice. I got it to Magnificent, and I'm on my Titan, and I'm done. Like I did not really even want to, but I was like, I just kind of wanted to knock it out, because once you have that, then you can masterwork it sometime in future life if you care to, even though the stats suck. So I don't know why I really would, because that's not going to help the stats, which really kind of sucks. Like you get the Magnificent set, and I'm like 51 stat roll. I'm like, why do I have this? You do the masterwork. I'm confused
by that too.
You do the masterworking thing, so you do the requirement so it glows, but it's not better.
And why would you masterwork it when you can just at that point, like just do the whole transmog? Yeah, just do the whole transmog. Which, by the way, I love transmog.
Yay, nay, you do, or sarcasm?
Wish the process was better.
No, actually, the process could be better, but like so far, like I've transmogged quite a bit, and I still have a lot of things left. So. And I do it on all 3 characters, but I've transmogged like 3 full little outfits for my hunter, and like a couple for each of my other characters. So it's really endgame, honestly.
So you play hardcore Destiny, PvP main, and Destiny.
I never was, and then transmog came around, and I was like, oh shit, this is kind of fun though.
Yeah,
my Titan's kind of cute. Like,
yeah. PvP mains have always had a hard time playing Destiny because we care more about stats than our look.
Yes. Yeah.
It sort of allows us to get the best of both worlds. But I will still say, as I said on this show,
yes,
it's a terrible.
It's not a good system.
Terrible ecosystem with 3 currencies.
Every game has like transmog and like it's all free. It's just part of a game.
You do it with one button. Click X to transmog, and this one has 3 different currencies and a. Oh my god!
No,
the
so
menu's 5 currencies because you have the 2 paid currencies, the bundles and the singles.
That's right, of course.
Right.
5
currencies, yeah. Eva Levante and Tess Everest, like that, I think is who Savathun actually is in the behind the scenes. So
probably
overall,
they're evil.
But yeah, Solstice overall. I mean, you got the quest when I think you got the blue set of armor. You finished that one. And then you got your shotgun, which is the one new reward. And you can open packages for a roll. I think it's a precision frame, which is fine. I'm sure they're okay. But same thing after 3 years. And I know I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't want you to do anything else. But it's always the weird thing when you get done with that. I'm like, that was not time well spent.
It wasn't enjoyable.
It was not. I'm just going through. I was like, okay, so because I was working on the purple set. I'm like, all right, I got to do how efficiently can I do these things and put them together? Well, I have to do 3 overrides. Why? Because the armor says so. I have to do 3 nightfalls, playlist activities, and you just have to go through these certain things. It's just making me go play all the old stuff over again. I think if I'm going to hope for one thing in Witch Queen, which is probably still too big of a hope, is that some of that type of stuff changes. The seasonal activities get a little bit of love. Because, I mean, we're going to see the Dawning, probably not going to change. We're going to see Festival of the Lost. I still don't know how Festival's going to go because technically Mercury's gone, but I'm sure they'll bring it. I don't know how they're going to do that
Has
one.
that ever stopped them?
No, I was like, it's still probably come. Oh, well, we got access to Mercury through this like dark portal from Gambit over there. So,
Well, yeah, it has never stopped them.
No.
There was this eternal darkness, but the EDZ still was broad daylight every time I visited it this season.
You're right.
I don't
okay,
think
so
they're
fine.
there.
Festival Lost is going to be the same. The Dawning is going to be the same. Then Witch Queen. After that, the events need some freshness. So like I can be patient for Witch Queen, but at that point, I gotta see some freshness in some of these events. After this one, and knowing probably what's going to come in a long season while they work behind the scenes on brand new big thing, those events are going to be exactly the way these are, and it just gets me even less excited about that downtime in October and December. It's going to be rough.
Like I already have a big enough to-do list IRL. I don't need a big to-do list in game. I just don't.
Yeah,
I don't like to feel like that's what I'm doing. I don't like to feel like I'm like literally checking things off a to-do list because I have to. Like if I get into the game, I just kind of want to play what I want to play, and that should be the case. Like I don't know.
She's my people, E. She's anti-Teddies of the world right here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Teddy, one of his buddies, is the 100% triumph score. Everything.
He's the opposite of us. He
Yeah.
does.
Like
He only
completionist,
plays for the
like-
checklist. Only
Yeah.
plays for the. And then
for
when he's
some
done with the
people,
checklist, he logs off.
And for some people, that's like satisfying for them. Like it brings them a certain amount of satisfaction in a game.
His might be a compulsion
don't.
versus a satisfaction. But
He's a prisoner. He really is a prisoner of his own hobby. So
Yeah. No, not a fan.
Me either.
That's why I just headed and play PvP.
Same.
Yeah.
Ditto.
People are like, why are you grinding trials this weekend? And I'm like, because I feel like it. You
It's
feel like just
fun.
experiencing pain all weekend? Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's more fun than
Basically.
a lot of other things in this game. Like, I just like competitive game modes. I like to win. So, yeah.
Gimme.
Good.
I get a lot of hate for playing trials all the time, but
Hey, you have fun doing it.
Oh.
Nobody can tell you otherwise. So nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
before we get into the Sandbox, I did want to get the two Crucible players' thoughts on the Sandbox. I wanted to ask you guys your thoughts about Master Vault of Glass to see if you guys have any opinions, if you even know what I'm talking about, first off, if you've been watching, but thoughts about, just kind of the feel in the community, the rewards and, the time and effort and limitations, just thoughts on the whole way they handled Master Vault of Glass. Both of you guys
No.
are shaking heads in different ways. So who wants
Yeah.
to shake their head first?
I haven't
My
run it
answer
yet,
is
but
no.
I've talked a lot about like what's happening with it. I personally don't have a desire to do it, which says a lot. I do like Vault of Glass. I love grinding for new weapons. Like I like getting new weapons, and personally I have no desire to do it. It's just more champions. Which is also just kind of a poor mechanic in this game, IMO, but more champions. I don't mind the light level. Like, I think it's good to make it challenging. That's fine. But as far as the rewards go, it just doesn't seem like it's worth it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with her. I honestly think this is the worst heroic raid they've ever done, because back in the day, heroic raids actually used to be more than just beefier enemies. I mean, there were some where they just added yellow bars, and that wasn't good. Like, I think Crota's End kind of had that with the heroic mode for that raid, but they at least had different challenges, or there was sort of a different take on a certain encounter. But now they've sort of spoiled that already by having challenges with the base raid. And so now by the time we do heroic, it's sort of just make them chonkier, make the more champions, make the grind to actually play the mode more than it should be, which honestly, to me, that's the worst part, because I'm a PvP main, so I level up just tragically slow because I don't do a lot of the stuff that gets you to level up fast. And that means that I'm not even high enough power to attempt the Master Vault of Glass, but just
Also
from what I've seen.
super frustrating for casual players, because I think that something like a Master Vog it does need to be accessible to casual players. Like, not everybody like myself has time to grind out all day every day. Like, I just
yeah, I don't think
also doesn't it cost spoils to get the adept weapon at the end? Is that correct?
You get one by
Does it?
doing the challenge, but if you want to buy any more, it costs more spoils, which I don't even know how much more it costs. I actually don't know the cost.
It's 25 or 35 or something. I don't
For
even
the-
remember.
For the high level, does anybody in chat know
Yeah,
how much the time lost weapons cost for spoils? If you do know, let me know.
but I do think it's
I don't-
more.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's hurting for spoils really. Like I think I'm maxed out all the time on that currency.
25.
25, that's not that bad.
Okay.
So
yeah.
yeah, I mean that's not really. I think the rewarding part of it. Well, obviously it's not rewarding enough because we're all like the tryhardiest of the tryhards, and I don't know if any of us have played it, but at least Small Hat and I haven't played it yet, and we are their target audience with how hardcore we are at this game. So that's not a good sign. But for me, it's like the barrier of entry is their first problem. Like
Yes.
I'm not going to grind just so I can do Master Vault of Glass. I felt the same
Yeah,
way.
like I'm not doing
Grand-
strikes, man. I'm not gonna go do
Oh,
strikes. So I can do a
Strikes and
master
Down
mode.
Downies still there.
I felt the same way about Grandmaster Nightfall. Like, sounds fun, but I'm not going to spend all my time doing that. So that's a problem. And then the other problem is just that, like, you just got done doing Vault of Glass, and now I'm just artificially going to get my butt kicked by the same enemies just because they decided to make a hobgoblin that much stronger than me now, and that never feels good. And I had that same problem with Grandmaster Nightfall. It's like,
Yes.
hey, here's a strike you've done 50 times, 100 times. Now do it and feel bad at it, even though it's your 103rd time. You know what I mean? And that's like, well, how is that nobody likes that. Like, there
Like,
has to be some sort of way to mix it up, a remix of some
There's
kind.
some aspects like with GMs that I don't mind. Like I do like that, you know, you kind of develop a strat and then you can, you know, you it's satisfying when you finish it finally because you've got the strategy down. It's same thing, you know, I do think of it kind of like with trials. Like once you get familiar with the map, you kind of figure out how people are playing. You get that strat down, your wins are going to come, right? Like, so it's figuring out, you know, how to play it to successfully complete it. Whereas I don't know, with Vogue, I think we're still dealing with the same mechanics. A lot of us have done, this raid every week, multiple times. I still don't have Vex, so I'm still doing it 3 days a week. And so for me at this point, the raid feels grindy because I've done it so many times this season. And then somebody in my chat yesterday was like, well, if they added new mechanics, people would be kind of butthurt about that. I'm like, really, would they? Like, I would prefer to learn a new mechanic to challenge myself than just have to shoot a few more shots at an enemy and have to bump up my resilience because I'm dying faster because I'm lower light. Like that's less fun.
Do anything.
Yeah, it was just an example. But
I know, but that's a whole different argument I've had before. Is like I wish stats mattered more, but that's a whole podcast in itself. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. But yeah, I personally would like new mechanics. I think that, you know, the challenges, like when we did day one, we completed the raid. I'd never done Vault of Glass because I didn't play D1.
Yep.
I was brand new to it. We completed the first part of the raid and then we had to go back and do the challenge mode. And that was fun because it is adding in new mechanics, right? It's actually changing how you take on the encounter. Whereas when you just make the enemies harder and you add in a few more champions, you're just getting overrun with enemies. It's just not fun. It's just basically you having to play more passive. You're having to, you know, just put on, you know, you have to have more wells. You need more bubbles. You just need it's boring. You can't change up your loadouts the same way. Like there's already champions. So you're already being dictated what weepons you have to use because of the champions. You can't even play around with new loadouts. So it's like it just feels grindy. I don't know. I'm not looking forward to doing it. People are being like, "Oh, when are you going to do that?" And I'm like, I don't feel like it. Like it just, and even this week, like because the weapons are on rotation, like the weapon this week sucks. Like I was like, no, like I'll maybe do it once like Fatebringer is the adept weapon, but like
in 9 weeks.
In 9 weeks, yeah. Like,
well, I've heard some people it's not even
for that one.
I've heard it's not even a guarantee to get the weapon. I've heard some people just get armor and not a weapon.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's like it happens to everybody.
It's probably similar. It's probably similar to GMs because GMs like you don't always get a weapon. Like obviously at higher level of difficulty, like it's you get higher chances, but you still have to grind it. Like
I've platinumed Grandmaster Nightfalls like maybe 7 times, and I've never gotten an adept weapon to drop.
Yeah,
I have.
That's
ridiculous. Most of those were on double loot weekends too. So like I've
you are just unlucky.
Horrible. You're RNG. Us PvPers, I honestly think we get screwed with RNG. I really
if your KD is above like a certain number.
I did get eyes first try last season, or like you know when
you still have.
DSC
Oh,
came
you
out.
did? Wow, I did.
It's funny because I didn't actually do DSC until it was like 2 months in. I did it for the first time, and my entire clan, most of them had run like 20 plus times at this point, more than that. And I did it first try, and I got it.
A day one on challenge mode, and then I did it every single week, and I didn't get it until this season.
Yeah, sorry.
I have terrible.
I have a
luck.
couple clanmates that were in your
Terrible
boat too.
luck.
Yeah,
Did
This
you
is
get Vex?
always my
Did you get
story.
Vex?
I have a special relationship with Vex. That is the one gun. I got it the very first time I cleared Vault of Glass on the first day it released in D1, and I got it again in D2. It's like it knew that
It knew you were
I
due.
to me.
Okay,
It knew.
I do have a theory though. I think that the people that didn't get eyes like until way later, like after a ton of grinding, most people that didn't get it for a long time got Vex like first try or like within their first 10 runs.
It's like your multiplier
That
on
seems to
eyes
be
is
true.
so high it
Yeah.
spilled over into Vex and just gave it to you.
Yeah. That's my theory. And now I'm getting
could
screwed
be
over
that.
because I've done it. I'm 0 for 18. I didn't do last week's raids, so and I haven't done this week's yet. But I haven't done.
Yeah, well, if it makes you feel any better, Vex sucks, especially for PvP.
Yeah, it's like
I
it's
know.
not great right
I've
now. It's
heard-
not even
I'm
worth the
just-
grind.
I
which
do
is
like
sad.
to have all my weapons.
Same.
Yeah, I just like to have them because who knows? Maybe they'll give it a buff like next
Supposedly,
week, and I want to have it.
yeah,
Sounds like they're
supposedly
gonna
with
try
season
to. They're gonna-
15. Yeah.
They're going to allow it
Yeah.
to take fusion rifle mods, which I think is going to be a game changer.
Yeah, actually is a fusion rifle.
All right.
Yeah, I was like, no,
Cool.
literally hearing you talk about Master Vault of Glass, seeing what I kind of listened to different people's thoughts in the community, and then just mine. It's like, as you said, the time limitation 1. So you have to do Master first. So if you want to like, hey, I want to run on Tuesday and play some streams or like any content, like any Sherpa or anything like that, they can't do any helps until they check that box. So that has to be like first thing they do on Tuesday. So then they might have to limit what they do. Then the fact that this week it's only the gatekeeper one, I think, is the challenge. So there's literally no point in doing Atheon on Master because you're just going to get a normal drop from it. You're there and you can get used to it, but you may as well go do it on normal because the drop's going to be the same.
Yep.
Which is really
That's
weird.
so bizarre to me.
Yeah,
that
I do.
they're
That's
putting
the
the
worst
drops
part.
into like the weird, like just put it at the boss. Like if you want to actually make it challenging and super rewarding, because that does not make sense to me.
So like, I mean, the one challenge is going to be active a week. You can only get one time lost weapon a week. And like, say you go out of town or you have a vacation when Fatebringer's in here, it's going to be 5-6 weeks later when you actually get another chance at a time. I'm like, really? So the time gating is the weird part for me. And then as you said, the fact like I feel the same way about Grandmasters and Master. Like you look at them, Grandmaster's the same, but you like, hey, go to the Nightfalls and just click on Master and just look at the modifiers down there and like, does that look fun to anyone?
Mm-hmm.
I'll even do like my Lost Sector guides for other people, and I try and do them for like new players. Like I typically do no exotics, and won't even use my super. I'm like, you guys can take this base loadout and get it done. Use any tools you have to get it better. When I do a Master with attrition, it's awful. Like there are certain modifiers that just are not fun, and then you think about like a Grandmaster, and you're like, hey, I sneezed the wrong direction, I got shot in the side of the head. Those moments are just. That's why for me, like Master doesn't sound fun, especially if you make it the time gated limitation for the loot anyway, on top of the way it feels. Like that's when it's not, because you're like, oh, here's a champion I killed. Okay, now you just have to unload another half a clip into it just to try and kill the same dude. There's a sniper over there. He takes 2 shots instead of 1. And it just, I know the artificial difficulty term gets thrown around a lot. But I also know it doesn't feel good when that's the only difference we're getting. So I'm with you guys. Like the mechanics, I kind of like what you said because I don't hear it often. Champions, I think, they crutch on them way, way too hard. They put them everywhere in basically PvE, and it's their only thing. Overload champions are kind of unreliable at a high level anyway. Like you
Super unreliable.
Oh my God,
switch
Very
weapons off or
inconsistent.
something. Like,
Very
all of a sudden he's
inconsistent.
full health. And then like the fact that so many of them can shoot through there.
Yeah, and their teleporting is like really wonky too, and sometimes like I don't know, it's
It's
bizarre.
awful. Yeah, I think Overload is glitched, like straight up a deep bug that they have.
And then I've sat in one of the fallen lost sectors on Master, and there's a captain. I think it's I can't remember the name of it. It's on the Cosmodrome in the south. And that first Master captain, he's like, doo, 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 doo. I'm like, dude, are you in a pinball machine right now? Like that's what he looks like. I'm like, how is this how is this a mechanic? I'm like, I'm going to aim. He just teleported 4 times while I brought up my scope. Like, what is this? Exodus Garden 2A, thank you.
If you use stasis on them, it's even worse. If you use stasis
I was gonna say, like, stasis in normal situations, you'd be like, oh, this is a really great opportunity for stasis, but it's not. It's not. It's terrible. It doesn't.
Yeah. It like lets them heal even faster somehow. I don't understand.
Yeah. So I don't know. The whole champions thing is kind of up there with like immune phases for me. Like it just feels like a crutch. It feels like oh, like this is just too easy. Stomp mechanics. Yep. Like it's like I just like give them some new movement abilities. Give them like some different like I don't know, just like enhance it a little bit, get more creative with it. Like I just feel like we see so many of the same mechanics over and over and over again that are just very frustrating to deal with, and it's not fun. It's just not interesting. It's just like you said, that artificial difficulty. Like
well, it's also when you said the other piece,
champions to PvP if we're not careful.
Let's just spawn some overloads into trials. You know what?
Each team gets
that's how we'll beat the cheaters. That's how we'll beat the cheaters.
That's your kill streak call out. That's your kill streak reward right there in Destiny. Can you imagine kill streak rewards?
Oh my God.
Summon an like overload champion.
Or a barrier, like a really strong barrier
on
that like nobody can kill. Yeah, because nobody's got barrier on. If the barrier's on the control point, you can't capture the point.
Do you have any idea how much that would actually change the PvP meta though? Because you'd have to run double primary because you have to count for the champions. Half your team would have to run like, barrier and overload. The others have to do like barrier and unstoppable. Like you'd have to no grenade launchers, no shotguns, no snipers. Like you'd completely eliminate special weapons.
Ebontis, I think we just invented Gambit on this podcast.
But I think we made Gambit better.
Gambit with champions.
I think we actually just made Gambit better with champions, which sounds really weird.
Oh no.
20 kill streaks, spawn a Crota. Dude, can you imagine kill streaks in Destiny PvP? I know this is completely not where I thought this conversation was going to go, but that would actually be hilarious for like a game-changing moment. Sadly, that would just be salt in the open wound, because if somebody's already on like a 10 kill streak in Destiny, the game's probably about to get mercied. Yeah. Seventh column, and it calls down Oryx. It's like, oh shit.
7th column, and Goku Gall shows up to use the supers on you.
Oh, that would be amazing. But no, that kind of takes me back to when you said master with champions, it also limits your loadouts. So now you're having to run 2 primaries, and you're like, what do I get? Scout rifles, and it depends on like, okay, so now you've got this season. Well, next season you go into Master Vogue and your unstoppables, like, it's just the whole champion limitations. If you're just like, hey, if you could just have any slot and just put a mod on one of those weapons, whatever you want to use, fine. But it's like you have to use scouts or auto rifles, and barriers are in this thing like the whole time. Okay, well, I got to have one of those in there, and we might have something else. That's 2 of my slots.
It controls how you play way too much.
Yeah.
The whole Gambit meta. Sorry. Champion meta. You know where my head is at. I'm tired of the Gambit.
He's doing this
we're still thinking Fat Drifter, guys. Like we're
on like, Fat Drifter Gambit.
Fat Drunk Drifter.
Fat Drifter played some Call of Duty, got some ideas, and just went crazy. So but yeah, just like universal.
It also just like makes it so boring when you just can't change up your, like, it would be so fun for us to like, be able to go into a Master Vogue and try out all these new loadouts, and like it would make great content for content creators too. Like, this is the new loadout to use to run this, or like to complete this, in like speed running would be made easier, like, but also more fun and entertaining, because you can and the best, in my opinion, one of the best things about this game are the weapons, and like how diverse weapons we have, and how they've all got different perks to them, and how they always are coming out with new perks, and exotic weapons always have these fun aspects to them as well. So like, why can't we use those in a bigger capacity in high level PvE content?
Yes.
Every season, not just the seasons that it appeals to. I don't know. And it also makes it harder to grind for weapons for PvE as well, because like, one season you're like, okay, sniper, because that's barrier, and also top tier in my opinion for most high level PvE content. And then next season you can't use a sniper because you literally need to use the scout rifle and auto rifle. So now you're grinding for scout rifles, and like it's just
No, I mean, I
There's
literally...
a reason I'm not a PvE main, guys.
No,
like...
you get it. Like, I literally, I had to get solar weapon kills, and I was like, what do I... And I was just looking at Dim, I was like, oh, I still have Tiku's Divination there. And I was using the thing, I was like, damn it, this is still fun, but I haven't used it all season because you can't use bows for anything. And last season, bows were... I don't even remember what they were, but it was something you would use for champions. It's like, oh, it was kind of in the loadout
or something.
Yeah, it was probably barrier. And I was like, but I was using bows. And now I'm like, I've just been using, like, I've got a Night Watch I've been using. And it's their way to kind of push you into using certain things. It's their way to freshen up the meta, but sadly it's forced, so it doesn't feel as fun as if they introduced something new that was like, hey, this new weapon came out. Well, I don't usually use scout rifles, but that one looks cool, as opposed to you have to use scout rifles. It just feels bad. And that's just one of those. So yeah, Master for me, I'm with you guys. I'm in no rush, and I'm also not high enough, which kind of takes to the last point is like, did you do enough bounties, seasonal challenges, and put the hours in? The worst part, when we get to August 24th, you're going to have to grind it out again just to go do the same raid that you grinded out this season to do. Yep. That's the issue. Yeah. Like, oh, you were close. Well, try again. And that's kind of one thing. So,
yeah.
So, yeah, I did want to get to the Sandbox since I do have two fairly solid Crucible players in here, to say the least.
Fairly solid. Yeah, come on.
I'm trying to keep you guys humble. A little
more. God tier. That's what I want to hear.
God tier Crucible players who are Sandbox experts. They're rivaling the ways of Mercules in Fallout. Embrace the numbers.
No, I just don't think that's true.
I think they're riding our waves, but I'll take it.
Gotcha. No, but seriously though, for the time that if you guys have spent any time in PvP since the Sandbox dropped, how's it feeling? What's feeling good? How are 120s? How's Dead Man's Tale? How are the big things that got changed? How's it feeling to you guys?
So I just played yesterday for the first time, and was it yesterday? What day is it today? Oh my gosh. Yes, it was yesterday.
Yeah, I think I rated you yesterday.
Yeah. And I played some comp and I played some sixes as well because I wanted to experience it in both. And sixes, just a lot of GLs right now, but there were a lot more 140s in play. I was able to use my baby Thorn again, which was really exciting. I was just kind of switching up loadouts constantly. Lightweight frame shotguns feel really good right now as well since the shotgun changes. And then I went into comp. I didn't see any DMT. I didn't come across DMT really at all, so I'm not too sure how that feels. I've never used it. I don't even have the catalyst. Wow. So, and then there were still a lot of GLs in comp and a lot of 120s still. 120s are still really powerful. I think they only got rid of like half a meter and they took 5 damage off per shot, something like that. And I used a 120 at one point and it still felt super strong. I also think the hitboxes on some of them are pretty large.
Generous.
Yeah. But yeah, it was really nice to see 140s out again. I felt like a lot of the gunfights felt a lot better. Like I just came out of a lot of games, even if we lost, feeling like it was a good game. Only came across one cheater yesterday in comp after playing for like 3 hours, I think, which was pretty good. That's pretty hype. And yeah, Chappie still feels great. I'm really, really, really glad that I'm a Chappie main right now because slugs feel great. And but yeah, I would say that like overall, I think the changes are good. I think that in 2 weeks I might be feeling differently once people kind of refigure out what the meta is again, because I think that's what happens when, you know, we get a new patch. They've changed a lot of things about some pretty prevalent weapons. People are trying new things again. They're trying 140s. They're putting away their DMT and their GLs. They're, you know, experimenting with like different shotguns and slugs and precision frames or whatever, lightweight frames. And they're trying out new things. And then, you know, once they figure out the meta, that's when I think we'll really know how things are feeling again. Because who knows, maybe people will realize that 120s are still really strong and they're going to put away their 140s again. And then everybody's just going to be on 120s. So like, it's hard to know, but so far I enjoyed it yesterday. I think it was pretty good.
It's refreshing to hear.
Nice.
Yeah.
What about you, Travis? You played much or you've been too swamped?
I'm pretty swamped with work, but just the reviews and previews will not stop coming this season. But yeah, I did get to play a little bit on Tuesday, and my initial thought is, as I thought, I'm not super affected by the shotgun nerf because I'm using slug throwers.
Yeah,
Yay to me.
same.
So that's been awesome.
I've got to learn those
and
things. I'm terrible with mine.
Oh, dude, it's honestly.
It took me a while. But like once you get it,
it takes a little bit, but once you get it, you're like, ooh, like you just have to kind of rethink the way.
It's so much
you're
more satisfying too. Yeah. Oh, you use it so differently.
Yeah.
I went back to I used my a lightweight frame yesterday, and I was like, oh, this is weird. But like once you like, it's just a completely different play style. Like
yeah. So that's been good for me. It just means that I'm more competitive at close range, and I don't have to worry about the low skill people using whatever it's called, Fellwinters. People using Fellwinters capping me, which is great. So it hasn't affected me that much. For Dead Man's Tale, I didn't really notice the nerf too much. I only really hip fire when I'm really in trouble anyway. So because that means I'm out of shotgun and I got way too close with my scout. So that's usually a pretty dire situation.
They only changed hip fire, is that correct?
Yeah,
They did a lot of stuff to hip fire mostly. The ADS is still pretty standard.
Yeah,
okay.
They changed something to the hip fire, but I haven't really noticed it a ton. So I think Dead Man's Tale is still in a pretty good place. But yeah,
it should still feel strong. Like I think it should still. It's an exotic.
Sure,
like I do think it needs to feel strong. Yeah. That being said, I do think that like I said, I didn't use it. So did they change? I didn't even read what they did to it. Did they change the hitbox and the range?
I know they lowered the
accuracy,
lower the aim assist for hip fire specifically,
yes.
And they like kind of took down the range help as well. So the farther away and the hip fire, the less accurate you are. Yep. Those were kind of the
that's
two.
all I was hoping. And the reason you're probably not noticing anything either is because you're a good player. Like you still aim, like you still, you know,
because you play the game.
From what you're saying, you play the game. But that's just it. Is I think you could tell that there were a lot of people that were using DMT that they didn't have good positioning. Their movement was crap. Like they're not actually regular PvP players that were getting flawless and beating out those good players with DMT because
it was sort of a crutch for a while there too, especially during the stasis days. I was just like, all right, screw it. I'm just gonna stay far away from these damn guys throwing freeze nades at me, and I'm just gonna two tap them with this gun because the aim assist is so heavy. But I'm one of those guys. I feel like aim assist hurts me more than it helps me on controller. Like I if I could turn it off, I would, to be honest.
No, that's fair.
It's my biggest pet peeve in Destiny is when you're about to kill someone and then their teammate panic runs in front of them and your character gets your aim assist dragged to them.
That's probably worse on controller big time. Yeah,
it's brutal. Like you're about to shoot somebody and then their friend pulls your aim assist, so you just automatically get like yanked to follow them, and you're like,
oh, that would drive me crazy.
Yeah, it's horrible, dude. It I don't think it does it on PC on controller, but on console it does it. And if I could turn it off, I would.
The other thing that I heard was that on console DMT wasn't as bad. Like I heard that it just was always more balanced. It always felt a little bit more balanced.
And that might be why I'm not noticing it too.
It's so oppressive on PC that like the flinch especially, like you couldn't even with the range. So essentially people would sit back with their DMTs and their Sightons and their empowering rifts, and they would just team shoot with DMTs and GLs, and it was like you can't even try and snipe them because the flinch was so massive from even like you should be able to outrange a DMT. A little bit of flinch is obviously necessary, but it was just like they could still 3-tap you easy without having to aim, and they're behind the Sightons. Like you just can't play against that. It created such passive gameplay. It was so boring. I don't think we've seen the last of it. I do think people are just switching it up right now. I'm curious to see what Trials is like this weekend, because Jav does tend to be a pretty heavy DMT GL map for PC,
I don't think it'll be as much
for Trials.
I really don't.
I'm curious.
They made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, or like played it yet. But we'll see.
I dabbled in very little stuff, but nothing intense. But I will say I didn't notice nearly as much when it came to hand cannons. It actually seemed like there was a lot more variety. And these are, I guess, the nice times to play Crucible. As you said, when everybody's dabbling, it's like, what's going on? Hey, this scout rifle might be good. You get killed by a gun. You're like, what the hell did I just get killed by? I love those moments in Crucible when you killed by something you don't recognize. You're like, oh.
Yeah. Totally.
That actually killed me. Here's like, maybe I could try that or see if it's good. Or somebody's just having it. Like, you see somebody kill you with a random bow and you're like, all right, that's fine. But Yeah,
I hate bows. Okay, but it's so funny because I'm that person that like somebody kills me with like a random auto rifle and you're like, I don't even know what that is. And I'm like angry because I'm like, they're just better than me at this point because they killed me with like a weapon that's obviously not meta. They're just good at the game. And I'm angry that they're better than me.
That happens to me all the time. I was like, you killed me. That is not I got to get better. All right. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, it does seem from like what I've heard overall. I mean, I've heard Flack on Solstice being pretty empty in, year 3, fine. Master Vogue, people did videos, dropped their thoughts about that one. Sandbox, never really not seen anything. Now, Trials may have some feedback this weekend to see, but generally, like, that was the one piece coming out of this week that was actually positive when the other two are kind of like, maybe not great, old stuff. This is too hard. This is a waste of my time. Sandbox, pretty good. And that's nice to actually hear both of you guys seeing decent stuff out of that.
Yeah. I do also think that there are some people in the community right now, which fair enough, they're just very checked out. They're very, they enter the game already like with this preconceived like frustration about the game and the sandbox and how it's playing and the cheaters, etc. So I do feel like those people sometimes have stronger voices than I think they should just because they come out being like, still not worth it. The game's still shit. They're still cheaters, blah, blah, blah. And they tend to be a little less rational about it. And again, honestly, can't really blame them a ton. Like, I know people are frustrated right now. But I do think we just need to like it is about like kind of picking, like go in and like get your own experience with it. Like, because I had some friends being like, oh, should I open up the game today? It's been about a month since I've played. And people are like, no, it's still not worth it. And here I am being like, I don't know. I think it was pretty good. Like, I play this game regularly. I didn't take a break. And I feel like it was better. I felt like, the games I was playing, there was more diversity in weapons. Like, I felt like I was actually getting into primary fights, like more crouchers around corners with their shotguns, but it's fine. Like, I can deal with that. So yeah, I do think there's definitely some people still very angry with the game, and that's fine. But definitely, I try to take those opinions with a grain of salt.
We just need more maps.
We just need more maps, man.
We need more maps.
That's
more maps.
They have to address that on the 20th. I swear if they don't mention PvP on the 24th, you guys are actually going to lose your mind, because if they don't talk about it, like this is, the showcase of what's coming in the future. Be like, if you don't talk about PvP there, people are honestly going to think you gave up, or they're doing the other IP, or it's just like every PvP person moved over to the other IP and we just have some weapon creators and that's it. Like,
I might be losing my mind right now, but I believe the last time we actually heard them say something about the future of Crucible was the Vidoc when they separated from Activision. Do you guys remember that Vidoc?
Yeah.
They were talking about the future of the game, and there was that one-liner like, we're going to recommit ourselves to Crucible.
Renewed focus on PvP.
Renewed focus on PvP. Yes. That's the line.
And I honestly don't think they have said a word about it since.
Like, what is it? 600 days since a map or something? I mean, people have those counts, and it sounds ridiculous, but it's going to be, since we're going to get the delay to 2022, it's going to be over, basically 2 years since a PvP map.
It's already been over 2 years.
Has it now?
Yeah, and it's been over 2 years. Yeah.
And this is like when we're talking new content, because like they've addressed, imbalances between PvP and PvE. Like they've, separated sandboxes in a few cases. Like, so they've addressed like a few things in regards to just like playability of it and like maintaining it. But there has been, I agree. I think there's been zero things said about new content for PvP. Like nothing.
It's like they need to do a stream or a Vidoc or something just about the future of Crucible.
Just where you're at, like literally, just like what are you working on? Like anything? Are you guys like still tweaking like major like spawn spots? Like what's like? Are you still just like really working on the basics of PvP and like the way it is right now? Like, is that what's keeping your attention? Like what? Is there just no team? Like, is it actually non-existent?
I think they're working on that other game. The PvP is working on that other Bungie game.
Yeah, maybe.
That's the big fear and wonder, is that everybody moves somewhere else. Yeah. But if they don't keep talking about it, that's kind of one of those things. Like, when it comes to a developer like Bungie, they can't show all their cards. A game could be 4 years out and they're like, yeah, we're hiring people for something. It's like, it's on like a whiteboard right now. It's not even anything we can talk about. Fair, but you also have to be like, we are shifting our focus somewhere else. Like, you kind of got to be honest, especially PvP mains to a point.
Transparency is so important.
Yeah, like you got to tell them something to be like, we are going to work on this. And that's what I was like, that's why I keep saying like Witch Queen continues to have a little bit more weight because you guys talk about this type of stuff. And then I'm like, if you don't do like, if PvP doesn't get focused out there, people are going to be like, throw the desk over. I'm like, I'm kind of done. There's going to be moments where it's like, all right, I've waited long enough. It's 700 days and I can't get a PvP map. And now there's no commitment. I'm out. Like,
exactly.
I feel like people are waiting for that type of stuff then.
They've got such a loyal player base. Like
Yes.
Destiny 2 has such a loyal player base. People that play Destiny 2 and like play it all the time, especially their content creators, like stick with it. Like it's their main game. They love it, like such a loyal player base. Take advantage of the fact that your players are loyal and just be transparent with them. And if they have to be like, we don't have a team right now, this is what we're focusing on, at least our expectations are managed. And at that point, then we can say, okay, I'm less angry now because I'm just going to go somewhere else. Like, just rip the Band-Aid off for me now, honestly. Like, and then at this point, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to play the current content until I'm tired of it and then go somewhere else. And that's like, because regardless, they're going to lose players if they don't say something.
Yeah, you're gonna be honest and they'll at least kind of come to peace with it, good, bad, or otherwise, or you're gonna piss them off so much that they leave. And I feel like the second one's worse if you don't. They're
not gonna want to support you in the future. Like that's the thing is like you want to maintain your player base to the point where like you're like I appreciate knowing that, and now I can make a decision just based on the content that I have and the content that's coming or the lack thereof. I don't know. I just think transparency, especially with Bungie's like a smallish studio, now that they've left Activision, like I just think that transparency is really important and people want to support them so badly, but they're giving us nothing. So
yeah,
it does. I think the PvP player base just starts to feel like, okay, like if you don't care about PvP, just tell us. If you don't care about me, it's like a relationship. Like if you just don't want to be with me,
Bungie's over here. It's not you, it's me.
Tell me now.
It's not you, it's me.
Now.
Why tell us when they could show us over 2 years how much they don't care about us?
Yeah.
Why
they're
not?
just having their cake. They're just having their cake and eating it too.
Like, these people are still playing the same. We took maps away. They're still playing the old maps.
They're still playing.
They're still
suckers.
going.
Yeah.
How long?
We added stasis and we didn't fix it for like a year.
They're just laughing at us at this point. Oh,
and the sad thing is,
of the Destiny 2 community.
The sad thing is, they know. That's why it kills you, because it's like they're so data driven. They play the game. That's one thing I'll give them. They do play a lot, but it's like, how can so many people ask and want? And like Ascendant Nomad, hey, I built you how comp's gonna work, and then you've got Kujay putting stuff together for like subclasses and all these things. Nothing, and it's like, I know you have stuff you've got to do, and I think that's one of those points where, we're like. There's a lot of stuff that it is getting to kind of a breaking point. It's like 7 years in the franchise. I've shot enough Fallen. Am I ever going to shoot anything else? Like, are we going to see a new race in the next 3 years? I'm kind of doubting it. That I kind of get, but you got to give us some freshness in the pieces of the game. The Gambit node on the directory feels like a joke. Like Crucible hasn't got love, but Gambit just like it got worse and kind of more useless. So, but you still got to go play it though.
Mm-hmm.
I think we will get a new race to shoot at.
I would love to.
Not in the Witch Queen, but in Lightfall. I think we will.
That'd be
interesting.
Cool. That'd be exciting.
Yeah, would be nice to see some different enemy types and not just Takenify.
Well, yeah, I think the Taken will get a rework with Sabbath.
Yes, I think that's going to happen.
That's the next move is they can do Taken versions of the new enemies they've already introduced that haven't had Taken versions yet.
A Taken Brig.
Taken Thydra.
Taken Wyvern, yeah.
Yeah.
Thydra.
Call them by their Christian name, Ebontis. They're Thydras.
Thydras. 100%.
Thydras, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Thydras scared the shit out of me. Oh my god.
Dude. Imagine a Taken one. Woo. What would a Taken one even look like? I'm excited for that.
I'd like the Taken captains with their black floating ball of doom that like wraps around corners. I can't stand that one enough. I'm like, all right, now we've got
little like feathers. Ooh, they would like be like, I'm picturing it now.
So what is its attack? Because right now it's that like 4 or 5 pronged like void like laser. What's it going to do?
At you, Ebontis. It freezes your enemy for 5 full. It freezes you for 5 full seconds. Oh god!
Now you're just in a master. You're like, I've been frozen and I've been killed. Like if you get frozen in a high level content, you're done.
Freezes and then stomps on you.
Yeah. It teabags
and then
you.
It follows up with a stomp move. Yeah, that would be horrible.
And you just see it like squatting and going up and down. They actually program a teabag from an enemy in the game.
That's why they've got such massive thighs from all the squats
That's
they do.
true. Yeah, they do.
Oh my
like
god.
It's
We
all
just
the
discovered the
teabags.
origin story.
Oh,
That's
Yeah,
it.
obviously.
beautiful. Thydras.
Yeah.
They have to be
Thydras
called
actually
Thydras.
invented teabagging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all those squats. Hashtag do
Yeah.
your squat.
Yeah,
Hashtag
I-
don't
I-
skip
I-
leg day, actually, is what I was
Don't
trying
Don't
to say.
skip leg day.
Don't skip
I
leg
think
day.
that's the next thing we get is a revised version of the Taken Enemies through Savathûn, and then we get something totally new for the last 2 years of Destiny.
That'd be cool.
As they enter that final stretch. So
Because
that's
I haven't been around since like a new
yeah,
Well,
you really
missed
haven't.
You know,
Siva.
like,
you missed
I
Siva,
came
which was one
in-
of the big ones too.
Yeah, I came in when like everything was already established. Everything.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
yeah. Even
Could-
PvP wise, like
Well, no, you
I
got
missed
Scorn.
primary meta,
No,
the double
she
primary
came in
meta,
after
so-
Scorn was here because she was season
You
of the
came in for
Drifter.
Gambit, that's right.
Yeah, during
yeah,
season,
so
and it was like
even Scorn was
end of
old.
season of the Drifter, I think. So
Damn. Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
you've not seen any of them, but I mean, season of what is it called? I can't remember. But Forsaken season. I can't remember what that season was called.
Was that even a season? Forsaken?
Must have been called something. Must
'Cause
have
I
been
know-
called something.
like
Well, Season
when
of the
it came
Forge was
out,
after,
yeah.
but I think Forsaken was just Forsaken, and then it was Season of the
really?
Forge.
Okay.
I don't-
Yeah. Anyway, for Forsaken, that was not too long ago. It's three full expansions ago.
Yeah.
Shadowkeep. Yeah. So 3 full expansions ago. So if they don't do one this year, it'll actually be the longest they've ever gone without giving us a new
Season
race
of the
to fight, so-
Outlaw. Damn, you got me.
Season
See?
of the Outlaw. I knew that.
This
I
is
knew it
why
had
you have a
season,
chat.
but
This is why you have a chat.
Nobody ever remembered. I knew
There it
it had
is,
a
yeah.
season. Yeah. But yeah, so I think that we have to get one. They can't just keep the sandbox in PvE exactly the same for like 7 years in a row. That would be crazy. So
Please fix
Yeah.
your Overload champions while you're at it.
yeah, that
That'd
would
be
be
great.
super.
That'd be
or just
awesome.
get
Great.
rid of champions because it's stupid and limits
Oh,
the game. I don't
yeah.
know. Just a suggestion.
No, I'm
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, if you could remove champions. The reason I don't mind
Or rework them.
Unstoppables is because they don't get their health back. You
Yeah.
can work them down. You can kind of control them. And
They
especially
are
when you get...
ironically the most stoppable of the
Yeah,
champions.
like
Yeah.
very ironic. Yeah, ironically, the most stoppable of the champions. And then the
Yeah,
so
agreed.
yeah, that's because like if they didn't get their health like a barrier, it's like okay, so you miss the break, you don't get like a damage bonus. I could understand, but when you're like, oh, I didn't get that one scout rifle shot off, I had to reload full health bar. I'm like,
Exactly.
Just-
Oh, that's the
You know what it
worst.
should be? If you don't break a barrier champion's barrier, it should do like 3 times damage on you when it pulls down its barrier. Something like that, you know, where it's like
Instead of healing, yeah.
instead of healing, yeah, it should just not heal
Yeah.
and it should just get like a damage boost against you and like one shot you with its sniper bolts or something like that. I think that would
Yeah.
be better than because then it punishes you for not doing it without making it like, okay, you literally can't get through this because you didn't bring a scout rifle that had this one mod that you have to remember to equip. In the menu
Yeah,
and, all
and now
that
you have no
stuff.
special left because you just like drained your special.
trying
Yeah.
to
if
kill
you're
this.
using a special rifle
Yep.
on, and then it got all its health back. And you're like, okay, well, I can't.
Yeah.
That's like the annoying thing. Oh man, you weren't even around for the things of ammo synths. I'm sure you've heard of those, but ammo synths.
Ammo synths.
Like, because, yeah, you're at the point, like,
No
you can
idea.
get unlucky on heavy ammo drops in something high difficulty, and you're like, I'm just screwed. This is part of
Yes,
my loadout to
yeah.
set you up,
Yeah.
do some damage, maybe polish you off with this. If I don't have the, and you have to, like, heavy is the only real way to do damage in master content. Sometimes you need that major thing to depend on because
Yeah.
everything else is primaries. And then if you're at a heavy, you're like, I'm shit out of luck.
Yeah.
That's always
ammo
so annoying.
synths were a thing where you could go to the menu and you can use a consumable to
Yep.
gain all of that type of ammo back.
Yep.
So there were heavy ammo
Oh,
synths where you could just
shit.
consume it and you would get all your heavy ammo. And so in
Yeah.
raids, it was literally
Picture
just
like a raid
all right,
banner on the
all right,
go for heavy.
Everybody defend me. I'm hiding. I'm using a synth. Like
Using a
you know,
synth,
it take
yep.
like 5 seconds to get in there and use the consumable or whatever. But they took it out.
Yep.
They took it out of the
Took
game.
them out.
'Cause they didn't-
Was it too much ammo economy? Like
yeah, I mean, you basically got heavy whenever you wanted because you could just buy hundreds of heavy ammo.
Yeah,
synths,
you get
but
to a point where you had
Right,
enough
there was
currency.
a 5-minute cooldown.
Yeah,
on
they had a
each
cooldown.
synth that you use, so you can't just keep using them forever. But the reason they took it out is because it is objectively not a good game mechanic to have it. Oh, the way you get ammo is you go to your menu and you use this item. Like
Yeah.
that's just not like what you want in a game. So they had to fix it. But I
Yeah.
think the way they fixed
but at the same
it
time,
is
some of the RNG with the random ammo drops is
Yes.
shit too.
the
So
way they fixed it was terrible. The way they fixed it was, oh, let's make even more things based on RNG and Destiny and make ammo a complete crapshoot.
like it would be nice if like certain enemies like guaranteed drop
They
heavy
did that
ammo.
at the
used
start
to.
of
Like,
Destiny
They
2.
used
So then-
to.
And then at that point, you actually know how to sparingly use your ammo
Correct.
too, because you're like, okay,
Yes.
this encounter has
It was it or
3
like majors and
champions.
Yellow
more?
bars. Yellow
Majors.
bars used to be guaranteed heavy ammo drops, and
Yep.
then they changed that to make it RNG. So
Hmm.
they've tried everything, and they settled on one of the worst iterations of the ammo economy,
Yeah,
which is
you can't even, or
complete luck.
another option, like they could have like had mods that like guaranteed the ammo drops too. Instead, it's like increases your chances, but instead, you know, it would be nice if we could like, I would use up a mod slot to be like guaranteed heavy drops from, you know,
Yeah.
Majors or
powerful
champions.
enemies.
Yeah, exactly. Something of that
I just
category.
Yeah.
I think players probably shouldn't have to think about it. Like in any other game,
Mhm.
how often are you thinking like, oh, I gotta like reserve this ammo and hope that I get another shot? Like it's just such a ridiculous.
Yeah, other
calculus
games
you
you're
have to
just
do in
like
your head.
swimming in
It's
ammo
about just
or
shooting.
unlimited.
Yeah. Or
Yeah,
or
true.
you at least get it enough where like you're never like, oh, what if I don't get ammo, I'm not going to be able to complete this encounter. It's just
Yep.
impossible. So I might as well wipe.
Yeah,
Like
'cause
that's
there
never
should
in your
be
head.
there should be already like enough challenging mechanics to the encounter that your
Correct.
ammo economy
Should not be a
shouldn't
mechanic.
be
Yeah.
a mechanic.
Yeah.
It should be challenging enough even if you've got unlimited heavy.
What's
Like it
the-
should still
yeah.
be difficult.
Famine is a modifier. That tells you everything you need to know right there, because that's low ammo drops. And like,
Bungie loves that modifier. It's in Halo 2. I will never understand why. It's in
Yeah,
Halo
not a
for
fan.
it's Halo. It's optional, but it, you know,
Yeah.
is that on
it's-
like
they-
double swords
you can-
or whatever mode?
you can activate skulls in Halo.
Yes,
and so
yeah.
there's a mode called Lasso difficulty, which is all the skulls are activated, and one of them is Famine, which is one of the worst mods.
I'm
'cause it
sure
makes
in
the
that
game
game
less
it's
fun.
awful. Yeah.
Well,
You
yeah,
just-
I mean, in that game you just pick up a different weapon because
Yeah.
it's a arena shooter, so it's different. But they love that mod. They put it in all their
Ugh.
games. They love it.
Yeah, not a fan.
Well, I know our guest has some time with her clan coming up in the future, so we can probably
Mhm.
wrap it up there. But I did want to kind of give you a chance to, first off, say thank you for joining us. Been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. We had some weird tangents we went off on, but they've been an
Heck
absolute
yeah.
blast.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like as we wrap up the show, it was like to kind of give our guest time to let everybody who listens to this on all the places it's going to end up, where to find you, what you typically do, what they look for in your content and stuff like that. So this is basically the floor is yours to tell everybody what you got going on, where to find you, and what you do, if they didn't gather from the last 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you do? I don't know, stuff.
You know, stuff. Yeah,
Where do
stuff
we
and
see
things.
those booties shaking?
Oh, yeah, on Twitch, twitch.tv/verysmolhat, SMOL, all one word. And I think we should take this moment. I'll tell the story about my name because
yes.
you guys did want to hear that really quick.
Yes.
It's very simple. And actually, I'm going to bring up my ex again because when I first got into gaming,
She
I had
could
to come
never
up with
get
a
away
name.
from him.
Can't
I can never get away
escape
from
this
him.
guy.
And his name was actually Large Hat. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to become Small Hat. And so that just became my name, was just Small Hat.
Well, now I
And
hope I never break up
then-
with my girlfriend.
Then- And then Twitch, it was Small Hat is taken on Twitch. So I became Very Small Hat, and I was able to get Very Small Hat on all of my platforms. So if you need to find me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch, all of them, it's just Very Small Hat. It's all the same name. There's no fancy things in there, just
No underscore one or anything.
nothing.
Just clean.
So apparently, it's a very unique name.
Amazing.
So that's really where it came from. There's no crazy story behind there being an actual small hat. But when people ask about it, I just say it's hat's so small you can't even
But
see it.
did your
So-
boyfriend have a large hat? Does that at least have an
where's the
origin?
hat? Where's the hat come from for him?
Yeah.
Basically, his theory was you take, and when people are like, I don't know what to name something, he's like, okay, you take an adjective and you give it like, so you take a noun and you give it an adjective, and that's your name. So
Got
it could be like stinky pickles, or like
That opens a whole different discussion right there.
Angry duck.
fresh socks.
Fresh socks
Like-
sounds better than stinky pickles. If the stinky
It was the first
pickles
thing
are
that
in the
came to my
fresh socks.
Stinky Pickle sounds way more like a gamer tag than
It
Fresh
does.
Socks, though.
I just faced off in Stinky Pickles and I got teabagged by Stinky Pickle.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know. Fresh socks sounds like it would start more conversations, though. Just saying. Stinky pickles, people would be like, okay, fair.
Yeah,
like
fresh
pickles
socks.
are kind of stinky. Fresh socks, though, like
I do laundry a lot.
so that was his theory, and that's like so. Yeah. Anyway, so that's where my
Nice.
name came from. It's really nothing crazy. It's kind of awkward when people are like, "Oh yeah, where'd your name come from?" And I'm like, "Oh man,
That
like
is-
it just happened. It just happened."
You've
I
now
am
given me a
Unfortunately, you
small.
branded yourself with
yeah,
your
you're
ex.
branded, and it's based on just this random thing. It's so
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. And he was like, "You need to change your name," and I was like, "I have a whole brand behind this.
Too
I'm not
bad.
changing
You
my
didn't even
name."
change your name.
Yeah,
He changed his name.
He
Well,
did?
because I mean, he did.
Oh,
I kind of took the whole hat concept, so it's
I took
fine.
the hat
she
I-
basically kicked him off
You
of his
ran
own
this
throne.
boy out of his own territory.
Yes,
This poor
it's beautiful.
guy.
Terrible
Amazing.
person, but no,
Love
it's
it.
cool. It's cool. He wasn't that upset about it. It was chill.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
so
great.
very small hat on literally all my platforms. I'm very active on Twitter. That's where people can find whether I am going live or if I'm taking the day off or whether I'm going to the gym or I don't know. That's where my life is on Twitter. It's really sad to say.
Awesome.
And yeah, I don't stream super consistently right now, but that's okay. I play mostly PvP on stream. Destiny 2, hopefully going to be playing more Halo. But yeah, I don't have anything super exciting coming up, I'll be honest. I'm chilling right now. Doing a lot of
PvP and
IRL
chill.
plans. Yeah,
Nice.
PvP and chill.
Yeah.
Eventually planning on starting on YouTube, but it probably won't be gaming oriented. So
No.
yeah, 'cause yeah.
It's all about those squats.
All about the squats. Actually, I'm planning on packing up my life and traveling North America next year. So
Whoa.
I
Oh,
won't
you're
be
gonna,
taking
like-
my gaming setup with me. So it'll be like a travel vlog probably.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I actually have a brother-in-law who did the live out of a van / mini tiny RV thing for about a year. So
That'll be me.
Crazy.
Yeah. I'm planning on doing it for about 6 months to a year, depending on how it goes. And
That's crazy.
I'll get a little trailer. I don't know. I'm alone, you know. I'm planning on getting a dog in the next like 6 months. I'm adopting a dog and it's just gonna be
you're
me,
alone,
my dog.
not alone.
Yeah.
Like a lone hero.
Traveler.
Yes.
Yeah. Like
alone, not alone. You
Alone-
can't say alone,
Lone
or people will be
traveler.
like, "Oh, you okay?"
she's going to be the lone Canadian in America.
I mean, I'm
Lone
kind of
Canadian Ranger.
alone too, but it's fine.
Well,
I'm here in Canada all by my lonesome.
Your
Oh,
dog
her
will
lonesome.
your dog will be great company.
Yes,
very
I agree.
lone
I
hat.
agree.
Very lone
Very
hat.
lone.
That should be your YouTube channel.
That should be it. That's
Very
perfect.
lone hat.
Oh
Very lone
man.
hat.
Yeah.
What
The
do you
lone
do? Well, I'm
adventures of
lonely
Very
and
Small Hat.
somewhere. Well, actually, when you do your travel blog, you can take this one. You need to buy a tiny hat, and where they do people, how people take like figurines and other things, they take pictures all over the world with them. You need
That's
to
right,
take
yeah.
tiny
Ooh.
hats all over your travels and take pictures
All
of
right.
your tiny hat
And
with you.
and you can put
Sounds
little
good.
tiny hats on a map to show all the places you've been.
Yes,
That's adorable
Perfect.
too. Look at that.
Perfect.
You know, when you
See?
think about it, like little pins actually kind of look like a hat. Like
Exactly.
yeah, little
little-
top hats, everywhere. There you
yeah,
go.
little top hats. Perfect.
You just got your branding
Yeah.
all figured out right here live
Thanks,
from
guys.
See,
the
that's
This
what
is
we
so
do.
productive.
Yes.
This is so productive.
Solved your next year's needs. We're good.
Yeah. You're hired. My marketing managers. Perfect.
There we go. Yes, the Last Word podcast / very small marketing team.
marketing consultants.
Very small marketing team. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
Big brain, small marketing. Here we go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Travis, I know you've been busy. And that's the fun thing about you is like, hey, what are you working on? Can't tell you till later. You're
Can't
like,
tell you, unfortunately, for most of it. I can tell you some of it. So I'm reviewing Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword for
Nice.
IGN. That game comes
Mhm.
out next week. My review will probably be late because I got the code last night, which is not when you want to receive a code for a 40-hour
Zelda game.
adventure game.
Yep.
Not
before it
ideal.
comes out. But that one should be big. I'm also working on the Ace Attorney game, which comes out at the end of this month. So I have a lot of time to work on that, thankfully. And then I'm previewing an upcoming MMO and an unannounced game that is going to be, I think on Tuesday I'll be able to talk about that. But it's going to be really cool. A game I'm excited for.
So I get to look for something on Tuesday on
Tuesday, yeah. So you can find all of that on IGN.com. You can follow me on Twitter at TyGuyTravis.
I've never heard of that website, by the way. Can you spell it again?
Twitter? IGN.
No, the other one. Yeah, the 3 letters. I missed those.
IGN.com.
IGN.
Yeah,
EYE.
It's a small indie outlet. The I stands for indie.
GEEN.
Independent gaming entertainment.
That's it. Yeah, so you can find it there. You can find me on Twitter at TyGuyTravis, and I'm also on this show sometimes. I'm on other shows sometimes, and I'm all over the web these days. You can also just Google me. I found out if you Google TyGuyTravis or Travis Northup, you get all the stuff you need to know about me.
Yeah, when I did your intro.
Yeah, don't Google me. Don't Google me.
Don't Google Very Small Hat. You get a bunch of weird Amazon recommendations for hats you should buy.
I just don't recommend it. Now everybody's going to go Google it and everybody like, oh, I see why you said don't Google it.
I didn't know she had an OnlyFans. Okay.
Yeah.
This is,
this is awkward. Yeah. Oh, that's harass. Okay. All right.
Hey, they have to pay to get to that. Okay. So at least you're getting monetized.
You have to support this lady's travels. She needs to get her travels in, so support this woman.
I was going to say, you actually have now made me afraid of if my girlfriend and I ever broke up, because my gamer tag on everything is TyGuyTravis. So as a joke, now that she games on Xbox a lot more because she's with me, she made her gamer tag TyGirlTravis, which makes no sense.
Wow, that
all.
Oh, she's totally gonna keep her name.
I hope you're engaged to her before she got that name, because she's stuck now.
Oh man, I better propose
it's super
real
cute.
Quick. Yeah.
So when we were together, we had it was large hat, small hat. People thought it was the best thing ever. Like he was one of my mods, right?
While you're together,
they loved it. And now and then after we broke up, it was all, wait, where's large hat? We're just because it was and I was like, there's only small hat now.
There is no
large hat.
Awkward discussion. Moving on.
Yeah, so if she becomes a famous streamer, I might have to change my tag. You might
have to change.
That would hurt.
See, the problem is TyGuyTravis, he only literally wears ties or suits or anything. He's going to have to change his entire wardrobe if he breaks up.
I'll be a different person.
Oh my gosh.
I'll get a mustache.
What would you rebrand to?
Breakaway Pants Steve.
I don't know. I changed my name. I was Steve too. I had to change my first name.
You have to change it. She's TyGirlTravis. You got to change it all, man.
I got to change it all.
Oh God!
She stole my name from me. That's a messy split up.
I'm telling you, you got to go put a ring on it. Otherwise, you're in trouble, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be
I'm working on it.
We're just gonna come up with so many alternative names for you, like Hoodie Boy Henry.
Hoodie Boy Henry.
Oh, I'm gonna have to just intro. He gets a new intro every week now. Any week he's on this show, he's gonna have a new name.
Perfect.
Dear God.
Thank you for this gold mine. I appreciate it so much. Travis will become I lost my tie in the divorce, Travis. I'm actually crying now. That was actually a good laugh. That's hilarious.
That's great.
Well, for me, I'm Ebontis everywhere. YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. You guys know where to find me. That's pretty basic. I always like to shout you guys out. If you made it this far, you know where to find me. But please, go follow Sara, Very Small Hat, awesome creator. She's going to be clicking some heads in PvP. Find Travis on typically Twitter, and he's going to be shouting out his IGN reviews. But go check out that tiny site, IGN. They do things about games and stuff. So they're, kind of cool. But yeah, for episode 157, I think we kept you a little long, but I think we definitely ended on a hilarious note. So it was worth getting here. So thank you very much. All of you guys, I got to go find somebody to raid, because we always like to end the stream sending the love over to somebody else. So if you got any recommendations, Sara, that you want me to send to anybody playing right now that you would like to see.
Let me take a look.
I typically try and keep it in the Destiny community.
Yeah, I do have one of my clanmates are online.
Absolutely. What do you got?
Maddox is online.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Maddox.
Yeah, I was on what is the podcast he does? Destiny Nerds, right?
Yeah.
I was actually on there with him a little while ago. So
Perfect.
beautiful. Well, guys, go say hey to Maddox for us. And if you guys know anybody who wants to get entertained by some ridiculous Destiny conversation, you'll see this on my Twitter, on my YouTube channel, and then also on Iron Lord's podcast. Shout out to Cognito. Iron Lord's podcast, Lord Cognito. That man is everywhere, and he's too big in his britches for us now. So I don't know how much you're going to be seeing him, but he'll be back every now and then. So for episode number 157, thank you, Sarah, for joining us. Travis, appreciate the co-hosting, sir. And for this episode, it's been
The
The last word.